Okay, good morning all. The company which I'm going to present today is company called RNIT AI Solution. So this is basically a company based out of Hyderabad, and this company started in 19. Sorry, this company started in 2019 by one technocrat. So we'll discuss more in detail. So BSc code is 517286. Roughly the today's price around 60 rupees. Market cap around 456 crore Indian rupees. We started buying this company when the market cap is around 300 crore. This company is relisted on the BSC main board on 24th of October 2025. The name of this company was earlier something different, but they did reverse merge and they got relisted on the main board directly. So this complete presentation is only for educational purpose. With my limited understanding and knowledge, I prepared this. Data may not be 100% accurate. If not, then you please do your proper due diligence before you take any decisions. So brief introduction. Can you able to hear us, right? Punitji?
Yes.
Yeah, Pankaj, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. So brief introduction about the company. So this company is basically a largest AI-based FRS SaaS player in Indian government sector. Everybody knows SaaS, right? Software as a service. So this company RNIT is basically right now IT. This is basically the full form of the RNIT. It's an industry leader in the AI-based face recognition solution. So you will heard this name quite frequently during the whole presentation, called FRS, FRS, and FRS. So this is basically face recognition solution what they provide. These are forward-thinking technology company at forefront of innovation, specializing in providing a cutting-edge enterprises level solution that empower their customers and thrive during this complete digital age. They provide the tailor-made solution, basically a unified digital ecosystem that drive the success and address the challenges that addresses the challenging and ever-evolving world. RNIT Limited is the fastest growing AI company with the digital governance technology enterprises driving next generation transformation across government, corporate, and social sectors. This company is founded by industry veteran who has experience of working with a lot of MNCs from more than 20-25 years. It's only the vision to bring the accountability through AI. RNIT has developed a lot of national level or scalable SaaS. This is basically into the national scale SaaS providers known as a large volume FRS deployment and AI-enabled work automation work. The main intent of empowering the departments, government bodies, private players in each and every day with last-minute accountability and authenticity. And there are a lot of loopholes in our system, like when we discuss more in detail, I'll elaborate. The platform is engineered by RNIT, have proven reliable, affordable, and efficient. So this is basically the evaluation of identification of technology mainly for an individual. You might have seen this when we go to the airport or when we have created our own Aadhaar card. We have done this biometric impression test, right? It has a lot of challenges. After that, it's bit difficult to cater an individual or identify the individual using only biometrics. It's a failure to enroll. This is one of the challenge. Then fall acceptance and rejection rates. Lot of scoopings and frauds are there. Cost of installation is bit high, right? Then when you go to the next stage, which is IRIS detection, which is basically they take the image of your pupil inside your eyes and then they detect an individual. But that also has their own challenges, like medical condition of an individual, obstacle by eyes using eyelashes or lenses or some contact lenses people might have used. And then pupil change, their size depends on the age and environmental condition. Cost of machine is relatively very high. Also the maintenance and installation and maintenance cost is relatively very high. You cannot install that in every place, right? So third stage is a facial recognition. Like facial ID, it has its own challenges, right? If you put your beard, he cannot detect you as an individual. If you change your hairstyle, they cannot detect, that machine cannot detect an individual. So the last stage where we are talking about is AI powered facial recognition. So every, like, as a being a human, every human has around 82 different coordinates. Out of 82 coordinates, these companies managed to cater almost 70 to 72 coordinates on the face, to fix like this face is belong to this gentleman and it's linked with Aadhaar card and everything. RNIT's core competency is basically artificial intelligence and FRS, as I discussed. Conversational AI. So this is one of the software and one of the system that they have called NEI. This is basically a generative AI-based assistant for learning, interviews, and citizen engagements. Internet of the Things, smart monitoring, accountability of system across the critical infrastructures. They do the data analytics. Whatever data they got, they do the descriptive, prescriptives, and predictive data analysis. Unable to take a proper decision. Then digital government SaaS, flagship platforms like Shiksha Setu and all these apps, whatever they provided, and they successfully working in the government departments. They got several awards and they connected with a lot of companies within India. They design and develop the Shiksha Setu app, which is won the national level e-governance award in 2023. They design and develop the Shiksha Setu app, which is won the Prime Minister Excellence Award in 2024, and they got a lot of awards. This company is also certified by CMMI, which is basically compatibility maturing model integration. It's a level 3 mature. So which shows this organization has a well established, standardized, documented, integrated process across all the projects, which shows the productivity of the company, focus on the continuous improvements and high quality of the delivery of the products and services. Company started in 2019 with the startup of India Recognitions, bagged a lot of projects for AI-based facial recognition at early stage. Then they engaged the civil-centric service department. They got first breakthrough through their automotive corporate giants like Bosch and Mitsubishi at early stage. After that, they hit the Corona. There were a lot of challenges to scale up this, but in 2021-22, they recovered slowly. So they scale up the new heights, roll out the AI at a statewide level, recognize and strategic partners, fastest emerging AI tech-based company by Telangana governments. Railtel they associated with, they are dominated with the AI SaaS player. They got recognition, as I discussed earlier. Impact at the national level. So they slowly and gradually they went into the different states. As we speak, they have presence in almost 7 states in India, and eventually it will grow like the way they are growing. It's unstoppable growth as a national wide recognition. So this company currently did face recognition and identification more than 3 billion people within India. So when we say 3 billion, it's roughly 30 crore Indian people. A well-recognized brand in India, rebranded as a RNIT, as I discussed, CMMI level 3 certified. It's really listed on BSc. It's not that easy. The company started in 2019 and 20, and they got listed directly on the main board in 2025. Obviously, they have like whoever listed, like BSc, has done proper due diligence before they give this to them. National-wise footprint and recognition, as I discussed, till date they have done 3+ billion face recognition process across whole India. The accuracy of this particular system is around 99.99%, where the false acceptance ratio is very minimal, almost negligible, and false rejection ratio is also very negligible. Minimum traffic per day, if I communicate, it's around 15 to 18+ million FRS transaction per day, which is a very significant technological and operational moat, presence in 7 states, and they are expert in the statewide FRS rollouts. As I understood, they have only one competitor, which is TCS in this particular domain, but they are typically focusing on the major clients and the major customers. They are empaneled with a lot of government bodies, mainly for Andhra Pradesh. Railtel, they are communicated with Digital India Corporation. They are associated with. Recently, they successfully roll out their AI system in Goa through this company called Goa Electronics Limited. It's a subsidiary of government. They design, develop award-winning solutions recognized by Prime Minister Award in 2024 and 2023. So this is basically the promoter and jockey. We talked about business more in detail, but first talk about jockey. Who is this gentleman? So Mr. Raja is basically a technocrat, techno business visionary leaders with a passion of excellence. He's a managing director and CEO of the company. He has more than 25 years of experience. He worked with a lot of MNC companies earlier, and he worked with this Asia Pacific. He worked with Europe, Middle East, Africa region. He also worked with Southeast Asia and Americas, with proven track record of successful execution of several large-scale digital transformation rollouts while working with Tech Mahindra, HCL, Accenture, and Wipro. At a principal capacity, he is owning a lot of P&Ls while significantly handled a lot of project delivery business for those MNC giants. He has received a lot of several awards like Employee of the Years, Enterprises Architect of the Years, and so on. So this is basically the AI-based FRS technologies innovated and developed by Mr. Raja. During his earlier stint, he worked with the CEO of one of the MNC company and successfully delivered multifold growth for that company. So when this gentleman left his corporate job and he started his own, means something we can see. It's interesting to watch what will happen in next couple of years for this company. So he also several of his award-winning projects are played a key role and become a mandatory requirements for the major clients organizations. So AI-based facial recognition. So what is the application and solution that they provide? It's basically the AI-based attendance and its management. Okay, and we see there is a lot of lack of this attendance and management with when it goes to the government employees or central government employees, when it goes to the schools, when it goes to the welfare services, when it goes to the schools and colleges. Real-time tracking of the employees, right? Basically, whether employee go on time or not, whether he's working there or not. Some of the government employees, we know that they, like, personally I know a lot of people, they don't go even 6 months, they don't go to the offices, and when they go after 6 months, they put a signature on that registered and they say it's good to go. But as we grow, as we are developing country, this will not continue for a longer period of time. So these type of systems and solutions are mandatory for most of the governments, and it will eventually roll out in most of the states. So this is basically the ensure that optimal resources utilization and operational efficiencies when we do the real time employee tracking. Crowd tracking for densely populated location. It's basically facilitating the accurate head counts purpose for crowd managements. When we know the various religious events or malls and all, people do a lot of crowds, like a lot of crowds. So we need to manage that crowd, right? So this type of solutions and applications are more useful. They also do the face recognition in the banking, financial services, and insurance sectors. This is mainly mandatory is the eKYC using the AI automations. Facial recognition attendance system for urban local bodies, basically modernizing the attendance process and fostering the accountability. Smart campus solution is basically a complete solution, 360-degree solutions, where the face recognition will be there, then descriptive, prescriptives, and predictive analysis is there to have a proper decision-making process. Mob detections and alert mechanism. When you go for large religious gatherings, we should have to ensure the public safety and security. So this type of solutions are more useful. Safety measures for detecting the CCTV cameras, um, for mining, logistics, and construction department. Municipal department facial recognition for streamline operations and improve the governance. So these are other services that they provide based on AI based chatbot services, virtual assistants, large scale language models, AI-based sentiment analysis from the grounds, AI-based real-time predictive analysis and demand forecasting. So these are some of the identified problem in the most of the sectors. So they work with most of the departments with various problem statements. So some of the identified problems are like fake and ghost social welfare beneficiary registration, causing significant leakages on the extras. Basically, like pension scheme, for example, pension scheme, right? So they have a lot of fake data or fake documents that people provide, and at least 20 to 30% people are not having the authenticated documentation, but they are still using the benefits of that pension scheme or whatever. So it creates a lot of leakages to the system. Ghost and duplicate student enrollment for educational department, lack of sufficient employee attendance management system to ensure the government employees, doctors, and other contractual staffs are available as per the office during the designated office hours or not. Real-time reports are not available till date. There is no proper analytics. There is no proper dashboard for quick decision makings. So this type of system will solve the purpose. So a typical example, if I wanted to say, they start with the problem statement, right? So let's say, for example, there is a scheme implemented by an Indian government called Swachh Bharat Worker, right? So it has more than, let's say, for one district, let's say 1 lakh workers are working in a whole district, right? On paper, it's 1 lakh workers are working on the cleaning department. But actually, when you go to the actual scenario, there are hardly 40% of the workforce which is actually working on the ground. 60% of the workforce, they are getting uh, they are there on the piece of paper, but that salary is going to the somebody's account. And we have seen this. It is a lot of malpractices are happening in a lot of departments like this. Again, there is a disaster remuneration and compensation distributions. So whenever disaster happen, when government wanted to compensate uh, to the affected people, it doesn't reach to the affected area. It went to it goes to to somewhere else. So that this type of systems can be useful to identify and control the system. So RNIT believe that need of the hours is identify the problems, areas where build the cost effective solutions, simplify the solution using the business needs, ease of uses, this is very important for the end user. Then uh, build build the work accountability till the last mile, improvising the business decisions, real time data and analytic good to go, enriching the ecosystem with self learning, reasons, and improvisation, train and skill the evidence by the evidencing the work done in the real time for further improvements, build and operate affordable business solution for futuristic technologies and ensure the continuous improvements for betterment of the everyone. So these are some of the success stories which I discussed with you. Let's say, for example, in schools, right? Whether principal is going on time or not, HODs are going or not, lab staff, teachers, helpers, support staff, contractual staffs are going or not. It is it is controlled by the AI based mechanism. For example, in case of schools, right? In case of schools where they do not have the proper accessibility of all the data and all, uh, in the monsoon season or in the winter season, out of 100 student, only 30% student goes to the school. But on the piece of paper they show it's 85% or 90% attendance, which is misguiding to the decision makers who are on the top. Sometimes let's say 7 to 8 class teachers are there in the remote schools. Sometimes only three class teachers are there, four are taking rest at the home. Alternatively, they are exchanging their duties. But this will not go for a longer period of time if we wanted to go. So that has been controlled properly using these type of AI based solutions. There is another example called midday meal. There's a lot of government scheme where they propose midday meal arrangement for the children. Sometimes this shows that total 1000 students are there, they are making the food for those people, but that accountability is not there, whether really the 1000 students were there or not, are they really benefited out of it. So what typically happen, only 40% students are going and enjoying the foods and all. But that 60%, there are a lot of manipulations and a lot of malpractices. Like that food went where, a lot of raw material is coming. That inventory, vanished somewhere else. So that can be controlled if we have this proper type of arrangements. So these are the typical example which I shared with you. So this is, you can see that users, these are basically the success stories. Like, this is AI based 360-degree comprehensive digital platform for educational department called Axiom Shiksha Setu app. Almost 50 lakh student enrolled, 2 plus lakh staff in 47,000 schools. So you can understand, the applicability and the impact of this. Then another thing is this DRS FRS, AI-based facial recognition attendance suite for educational system, around 20 lakh students, 2 lakh staffs across 22,000 schools, which they have done it. As we discuss about healthcare department, around 1 lakh physical health centers and staff across the states are enrolled in this. See what typically happen, let's say MBBS doctor allocated in particular as a government officer, right? He's more focusing towards his private practice rather than going to the uh, government hospital and catering to the people needs. So all these things can be controlled. As we discussed, this AI based midday meal tracking digital platforms is more than 50 lakh plus students are benefited out of it. Then these are some of the success stories. I don't want to go into minute details. These are the several apps what they develop for various state-wise departments. So typically the beneficiary of, let's say, real-time identification management, right? So this is applicable mainly for educational department, social welfare department, women and child welfare department. So it improves the data accuracy. It saves a lot of times and money. Automated calculations is possible. Streamline communication, data-driven efficiency, efficient reporting, faster decision making, avoidance of the downtime, and data securities. So these apps is basically AI-driven mobile apps, intelligent insights we can get, duplicate and ghost enrollments we can easily detect. There is no major duplication. Self-identification with the geotagging of an individual. It works on the offline mode, so it doesn't require mobile data or internet connections. So all the strategic reports, liveliness analysis. So they detect only the liveliness object. They don't, like, if you put some photo of an individual, they cannot detect it. So individual and group facial recognitions, integration of other cards, analytic reports, and mobile attendance. Another thing is this real-time digital inspection system. So most of the inspector go to the site, whether they really went there or not, but their reports are very good. In order to avoid that, whether they really went there, they have done the studies or not. So healthcare department, manufacturing, government, construction, and agricultural, it is more useful for to get the benefit to the individual departments. So increase the benefits of this is basically increase the productivity, no investment in the major hardware work, elimination of the ghost beneficiaries, minimum human errors, accuracy and responsiveness is there, portable and touchless solutions, saving a lot of times and energy and money, and easy of use. I know some of the government departments within Maharashtra, like they call this as a, I think I forgot the name, but some things they said that they have done a lot of things for agricultural department. They distributed some of the benefits to the people. There is no accountability. They show that they have done a lot of work. Like they manufacture the dam. They make the dam over there. They show this on a piece of paper, but actually when you go to the site, you don't see the dam. But all these people have got benefited, but actual the end user who is there, for which the dam supposed to get constructed, that dam was not there. So lot of malpractices can be avoided using this. So some of the flagship projects from the grounds. So as I discussed, more than 3+ billion face recognition they have already processed. some of their flagship projects. I don't want to go into minute details. So in short, they are working with AIs, Internet of the Things. This is basically a conversational AI companion called NEI, and all the data analytics using their system. So in short, the key feature is facial recognitions based on the liveliness detections. Facial recognition identify more than 70 plus facial coordinate, as I discussed earlier. Facial detections and identification along with the daily self-learning. AI-based algorithm works on any lighting conditions, whether it light is there or not, whether electricity there or not. It doesn't require internet connections. It works on offline. No technical hi-fi knowledge is required. It's a user-friendly solution, seamless integration with the existing systems. Entire class attendance can be captured in less than 1 minute. So this is a very, very good example. Like, when we go to the schools, right, out of 45 minutes, 15 minutes or let's say 18 minutes went on taking the attendance of an individual. But using this, you can finish the attendance within a minute of time. Alert mechanism for the duplicate registrations. These are some of the developments within this company. Basically, the order award. So this is the latest news. They first time venture into this legal metrology department, government of Andhra Pradesh. So once they proven this, their capability here in legal metrology department in one of the state, it can be rolled out to the other state. They can approach to the other state, or they get a good recommendation from existing clients. So they basically secured a new projects under the e-governance portfolio, making the company's first engagement in the legal metrology department. Under the agreement, RNIT will implement an AI-driven a digital platform which suits the aim modernizing the department operation through the comprehensive digitalizations. Interesting part in this whole things is that these orders come under the tier 2 category, which shows 1 crore to 10 crore. So that amount may vary, depends on how much work is there. And the good part about this is, deployment period is less than 2 months, and they have this maintenance and support contract for 5 years as well. So this is their first engagement for legal metrology departments. So what they will do is basically digitalize the workflow, licensing, verification, inspection processes, which include the dashboard, MIS reporting, payment integration, stakeholder logins, and other digital functionalities required for the departmental operations. Another news is for the Goa. So they launched this Niyamit Goa. They already deployed this state-wise facial recognition system for Goa. It's a fully implemented across all the village panchayats, block department offices, and directorates of the panchayats. Delivered under the SaaS models through GEL, which I discussed. It's a government of Goa entity. Enable for instant, secure, and automated attendance authentication for all the Goa government staff. So they already done it. Recent development with the GCC, though they already signed one agreement with one of the GCC Saudi-based company to cater for Middle East and North Africa region. So this is basically they will lead the AI lead governance and digital transformation across Saudi Arabia and other GCC countries. Mainly RNIT will contribute their experience for AI governance platforms, enterprise automation, face recognitions, generative AI and conventional AI solution, IoT-based industrial systems. This is also a recent award on 25th of November. This has been awarded by Telangana Social Welfare Residential Educational Society. So they will do this work to manage the daily attendance of approximately 1,70,000 students per day across 268 institutions under the SaaS model. So the beauty of this offering is that within 2 weeks the solution has to go live. So you can understand the speed of the execution is a bit high because of this different type of business. It's not a typical manufacturing setup. The solution is provided under the SaaS model with usage-based basis pricing. So I don't know too much about it, but we can deep dive into this. These are basically the financial fundamentals. The market cap is around 449 crore Indian rupees. Current price is 60. The stock P is still 50. If we see the forward P, it's relatively available at a level P. ROE, ROC is relatively good, more than 15. Promoter and promoter group holds more than 73.7% holding, and debt to equity ratio is very less. It's 0.13. Recent quarter two financial performance, revenue from the operation jumps around 119% quarter on quarter. The PAT jump around 294% quarter on quarter. The net profit margin also improved. Sales growth is around 92% year on year. EBITDA growth is around 110% year on year. So this is a relatively very small company, which is in the stage of exponential growth. The significant highlight is that significant revenue growth driven by efficient project execution, strong cost discipline delivering the margin expansions, rapid growth into the new domains and territories, wide acceptance to R&D investment-based solutions. So these are some of the financial projections and growth estimate which we have done based on the experience and type of development that they have. This company got relisted recently. Financial year 2025, the sales was 23. PAT is around 7 crore with 22% PAT margin. P is around 47, so market cap is 450. If they grow, let's say 100%, in next year, roughly 60 crore is the sales, 13 crore is the PAT. And the expected growth in financial year 27 is 100 crore sales and 22 crore as a bottom line. So I can see that in 2 years of time, this company could have potential to have double of the current price, which is double of the current market cap. Potential risk and challenges, rapidly challenging technological worlds. You cannot ignore this because there might be anything new or more advanced technology may come in near future which may kill FRS or AI, whatever they are relying on. Risk, one of the risks that they have is a change in the government and government policies. So current government or state government or central government, if they change and if they created some policies around it, that could be possibly impact the business of RNIT. Funding needs to meet the sufficient working capital fund. They could one of the risk factor, or they may need to dilute the equity based on the need of the fund. Since it's a growing business, need to spend a lot of money on the R&D, state-wise offices, branding and marketing expenses. So this is the challenges which I can see. Potential market size for RNIT. This is very important slides to understand. For school education, municipal administration, social beneficiaries, private segments, health and family welfare, if you calculate cumulatively, so as per one of their projects, like one of the slides and presentation which they have shown, the total market size is around 2000 to 2700 crore as a market size, right? And that they not even 5% of the potential market is tapped so far. So they did not even have 200, 100 crore as a sales. If you see here, they have not yet achieved that 100 crore as a sales. And out of this 5%, only 95%, out of this 5%, 95% of the tap market has done only by RNIT. So you can see, the pool is very big to expand further. Before we go to the conclusion, okay, I'll go to the conclusion. This is basically the right to win. So I highlighted major points. So it's a proven track record of delivering 3+ data process till date for 3+ billion people, FRS. A run rate is around 15 to 18 million transactions per day. As we discussed in one of the slides, they have the model, like based on the uses, they do the pricing. Another moat is that very important thing is that largest AI-based FRS and SaaS player in the Indian government sector, and which is growing exponentially. Skin in the game, promoter has around 73% of the stake, with a strong potential pipeline of the orders. Margin expansion is possible, as we have seen that they deploy in a very short period of time, let's say 2 months or 2 weeks. So hopefully the margin expansion will be there. Asset light model, they have proven scalable and reliable product and services. Most of the products and FRS and AI based still under the R&D phase, so it's under development. Strong team, strong industry talents onboarded. They most of have the proven track record of working with MNCs and generate millions of dollars for those MNCs. Company listed on the BSE main board, which indicates the cleanup of the corporate structure. Enter into the GCC market, as we discussed. They may plan to go into US and Australia markets soon. Most like one of the factor is that this company is available at a very low float, so number of shareholders are relatively very less. As we discuss in these slides, it's a small fish in the big pond, so opportunity size is relatively very huge. Most of the marquee investors are invested in this company. You can go through it more in detail. And before we go to the Q&A, I wanted to show you only one video just to understand, what type of offering that they have. Punji, time है ना हमारे पास?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Can you able to hear?
Yes. Video voice is not coming.
It's a 3-minute video only. Sorry. The video is not working?
It was going. Voice was not coming.
I don't know what is the reason. Okay.
That's
it
okay.
will come. It will come now. It will come now. It will come.
Or you can share the link in the group also. People can see.
देख लो ना सर अभी इधर ही क्या. Can you able to see the screen now?
Yeah, we are able to see.
In Indian government sector, delivering critical digital infrastructure across multiple states and departments. Shiksha Setu Axum, RNIT's innovative digital platform specifically designed to revolutionize education management in Assam. Shiksha Setu Axam serves as a comprehensive bridge connecting students, teachers, administrators, and policymakers within a unified digital ecosystem. Assam's education stakeholders, more than 43,000 schools, more than 47 lakh students, more than 2 lakh educators, 145 blocks, 4,607 clusters. Key highlights of AI-based attendance: a smarter, more efficient way to track attendance and enhance education quality, geo-fencing-based teacher attendance, ensuring accountability like never before. No more proxy attendance, no more unauthorized absenteeism. Teachers aren't just coming to school, they're arriving on time. Student attendance, revolutionizing student attendance with group attendance. No more ghost students, over 4 lakh duplicate records removed. Now schools can closely monitor students absent for weeks at a time and predict potential dropouts. With real-time insights, schools take proactive steps to bring students back to school and secure their future. Descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. Shiksha Setu Axum's powerful analytics engine transforms education management through precise pupil-teacher ratio monitoring, comprehensive teacher utilization analysis, forward-looking retirement forecasting, and data-driven school amalgamation planning. These tools have optimized resource allocation across Assam, ensuring every educational investment delivers maximum impact for students. Since implementation, Assam has seen a 27% improvement in educational resource distribution, 35% increase in teacher training completion, and significant gains in student enrollment and retention. This digital transformation ensured efficient delivery of beneficiary schemes and generating savings of approximately 100 crore rupees annually to the government exchequer. This transformational impact was recognized nationally when Assam Shiksha Setu received the prestigious National Governance Gold Award acknowledging its innovation, effectiveness, and sustainability in using technology to address critical public service challenges. RNIT has transformed educational landscapes beyond Assam, extending its exceptional impact to Telangana's state school education through the groundbreaking DSEFRS initiative. This comprehensive program unites key stakeholders across an impressive network of more than 25,000 schools, engaging more than 20 lakh students and empowering more than 11,000 dedicated educators. Transforming education, strengthening the nation.
Yes, sir. Hello?
Yeah, we are able to hear you, Pankaj.
Yes, finish.
Yep. So your presentation is also done, right? Nothing else to share.
Nothing, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we are okay on for the question and answers if anyone has for Pankaj.
So you said thesis is competition for them, right? So typically, if they bid, is TCS there, and what is their win rate in any bids against TCS?
Sir, I don't know about the tendering process and other things, but as I understood from, this company doesn't have too much data available in the public domain. What I understood, I just communicated. There could be their competitors as well. I don't know. I do not have the data at this time, at this point of time.
Gopiji, you want to comment? Because I think you said you work in legal metrology department based on whatever you put in the chat.
Yes, sir. They are actually, they are working for my department, sir. I am working in legal metrology department. They are very good at work and they will shine also because unofficially I am telling a lot of senior officers are having stake in that company. So they are very, very good at getting orders from the government also. But actually it is a 1.06 crores only, and yesterday papers reported that is a tied to order. They misunderstood and said that it is a 10 crore order. That's why it went up.
No, actually,
So
it's
that's
not.
what I want to convey. That.
They have mentioned this as a category. They cannot disclose the exact order value. So they mentioned this
Yeah.
the
That's why
category.
I said in newspapers. I am
Yeah.
not saying that a company has said that. Newspapers has reported that it's a 10 crore order, but it isn't just, I'm clarifying that it's only 1 crore 0.6 lakh order, and that too budget not yet sanctioned. It is under the process only. Let's sign an agreement. That's what I want to clarify. That's it.
Yeah. But sir, they now venture into the one state metrology department, right? So eventually they will also cater to the other states.
Sir, I can say about legal methods department, out of 25 to 27 states are having separate departments in the country. Already around 20 has been implemented. Andhra is slow in that part.
Okay.
Earlier it was done by the TCS people, the department, own state government software division, but that is not working properly. That's why we went for this one. So as far as legal metrology is concerned, I don't think they will get more than anything, any meaningful orders in future also. But as I said earlier, a lot of senior officers are, I think, pre-IPO or something, unofficial stakeholders in the company. That I can guarantee. So that's why they are very good at getting the government orders. That I can assure you.
Sir, only one request. Please update us. How is their performance? How they are doing? And what is the general feedback?
The performance is very good, sir. Performance is very good. Whatever they are doing for AP, in one of the vertical, I am also actually one of the officer who is overseeing that one. So they are very good at working all these things. Performance-wise, they are very good.
Okay.
Gopiji, whatever I know, TCS has implemented a lot of projects in Andhra, like 20 years, I think they are in that. So is TCS performance degrading is what I am hearing? And
No, sir. No, not like that, sir. It was actually TCS is given a support, that's all. Not a dedicated system for each department. Now with Babu sir taking over the CM, he wants a separate dedicated software dedicated for each and every department. So that's why they are separately going for a separate thing. So not that TCS is doing okay, sir. But as far as legal metrology is concerned, we are using for last 10 years, which is developed by their own something department, which is not up to the mark. So now we went private and called for the tenders and they have taken it, RNIT.
And any feedback on the promoter? Because it's a new guy and government projects.
I don't know the promoter, sir, but I know the I can't comment about the senior officers. They are very capable. The top bros in AP who are looking after ITs are having indirect stakes in this company. That I can tell you.
Thanks, Gopi sir.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Gopi sir, on the same order, TCS vis-a-vis RNIT, how they won the contract? Was it they were
It is
L1
not
or?
about TCS, sir. It is not about TCS. It was actually for legal metrology. It was earlier looked after by the industries department, which have developed their own software, for which the support team is by TCS. So industries department actually develops software for like factories department, buyers department, laborers department, legal metrology department, something which was developed 10 years back. So industries department has got a contract with TCS to support it one. Now the new secretary who came to us, who wants a separate software for the legal metrology department, he's very techno savvy. So he taken initiation to the government and he actually went for the tenders and it has been awarded to RNIT.
So I'm just trying to understand the tender process. So there they were L1, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
Pankaj bhai, just a couple of questions. First of all, thank you. Great presentation. Very good idea. Just for the entry barrier, right? Because, as Gopi sir clarified, TCS was not the software provider. They were just the service provider. So that sort of, clarifies. So what is stopping new entrants into this space? What's the entry barrier for RNIT? I mean, if I sort of, think about it, is it, because we are dealing with very sensitive citizen level data, is it special government approvals, special certifications, special saving of data within Indian sort of territory, etc. So just wanted to understand, do RNIT have something as an entry barrier for their competition, especially because they are dealing with such sensitive government data?
I think there could be some, some unique sales proposition that they have. I am not fully aware about it at this point of time.
Okay, no problems. And just a follow-up question, Pankaj bhai. For their flagship project, which is around the facial recognition and the relevant use cases, did they talk about taking this to the private sector as well, apart from the education sector? But are they sort of developing use cases for the private sector that they spoke about?
They are, and they will. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Pankaj bhai.
Thank you.
Initially, you said they work for Bosch and Mitsubishi. So, what exactly they did initially? Because that point I didn't understand clearly.
Sir, basically when you start a new company, right, after doing your corporate job and everything, it is a bit challenging to get any major job, right, directly from the government entities and all. So what they have done some automation work with the Bosch and Mitsubishi earlier, with offering some, some not basically FRS, but specifically developing some digital solutions for those guys
Okay.
in one of the state.
Okay. But
There might be having some problem statement within those companies, so they might have taken some small job, but they are, they entered, they started with those orders in 2019-20.
okay, sure.
That could be a small order,
Sir.
I think 50 lakh odd Indian rupees. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, I can interfere and tell one thing, sir. A lot of big investors also into it. I mean, you may be knowing Jeevan Patwa, sir, of Sastra Capital is into pre-IPO placement in this one.
Yes.
And a lot of Telugu investors also, big Telugu investors also has taken in pre-IPO placement here. So probably
Yes.
they have seen some specialties in this company.
Even
I
sir,
don't
this
know.
Quickle technology owner, Katkar brothers, they are also investor in this company from pre-IPO, and recently they also participate in preferential also.
But they have entered the pre-IPO around 20 rupees level, and they recently did the fundraise recently, where they invested heavily in the range of 44 Indian rupees.
Sorry, Pankaj, I missed the name. Can you please repeat that?
Quickle technology
It's
owner.
the owner of Quickle Technology. The brothers called Katkar.
No, okay.
Understood. Okay.
See, generally, I think somehow this Sahasra Capital only manages or guides this Sanjay Katkar family. Okay, if you see his
सर सर रिकॉर्डिंग चालू है सर रिकॉर्डिंग चालू
yeah, that's fine. Talk.
Okay.
The
Thanks.
point I
Thank
just
you.
want to highlight because I have worked in TCS for long. Okay, so I think the value of the projects, if it's smaller, like 1 crore, 2 crore, I think TCS might not even bid until it's a product. Okay, because for company like TCS, they want to get into higher value contracts. Okay, so or support contracts typically. So that's another feedback from my side.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Bankaji. Other questions, if you guys have as an audience, please put in the chat, and Pankaj and Suraj can take it from there. Definitely a good idea shared by Pankaj. Just do your due diligence from your side before jumping. Yeah. So we'll move
Okay.
to the
Puniji, thank you so much for an opportunity. And next presenter.
Yeah. So I will move to the next presenter, Farshad. Can you check your access for the?
Yes. Let me share. Okay. Let me hide the meeting control. Puneet, you can see the full screen, right?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, great. So yeah, let me get started. Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. So today I'll be talking about a very good idea. It's a category leader in the segment that it works on. And obviously, as you can see, it's undergoing a business transformation. So what I'll do today is I'll give you a very quick viewpoint, my viewpoint, personal viewpoint on the business transformations, especially the successful ones, to set the stage for our category leader. And in the following section, then, we'll talk about their products, their innovation, their clientele, and, some of the very specific triggers for the company, etc. Obviously, projections. Without projections, it's an incomplete thing because we need to know what's the potential lying behind the idea. And I'll finish off, with some of the risks. So that's pretty much the agenda that I'll be following. So as I mentioned earlier, right, business transformations. I wanted to sort of give you my perspective on, what market sees here, right? So if you ask me, I think Mr. Market loves the business transformations, but as I mentioned, not all transformation stories are good. Some transformations, as I mentioned, they shouldn't have done in the first place because things like these happen, right? You try to sort of fix something that is not broken and end up with something even worse. And some transformations are just stories on paper. They never happen, which is basically the promoters or companies promising us the moon and they just don't deliver. However, the boss, Mr. Market, particularly pays attention to the three types of transformation. And if the companies and promoters execute as they promise, reward well. And what are those three types of transformation? The first one is whenever the company moves from an established legacy product segments to an increasing share of value segments, value added segments. That's the type of transformation that the market looks very favorably. Nowadays, a lot of companies say value added everywhere. But it's up to us as investors to really sort of go down to the details and understand is it truly value add. For example, a pharma company which is into key starting materials, they are doing forward integration into APIs. Now that's a value add because they are doing something that is core to them, relevant to their business. A steel manufacturer, going forward integration, doing steel pipes. Yes, that is value add because they know the business. It's more around taking the core competency and getting somewhere there. Now, if you are an amines player, you know what who I'm talking about, and they sort of have a hotels or real estate segment on the side. Don't think that falls under the value added category. So the right value added transformation is definitely market looks forward to. Another type of transformation that Mr. Market rewards well is when you have a very ugly debt heavy balance sheet, and the company and the promoters understand that, listen, I mean, we have some non-core assets not contributing well, let's get rid of those and put those proceeds back into the core business. That basically improves your EBITDA margins, your ROCs, etc. as well. Why? Because the more you sort of keep on having debt, eventually Mr. Market will give you the final notice. But if you manage it well, Mr. Market rewards you as well. And the third type of transformation, very important, is when a company has very limited target addressable market, limited products, domestic focus, etc. They start expanding through new products, through new TAM, internationally as well. That's when a new sort of wealth of opportunities open up for the company, and Mr. Market again typically pays very, very strong attention to this type of transformation as well. Now the question is, obviously the first question that will hit everyone, it hit my mind as well, what about the tarification that is happening? So again, the winners here in the third type of transformation will be the ones who are not dependent on just one export country, or they have not only a distribution presence but also a manufacturing presence. So again, our job as investors is to sort of pick out the right companies even in the export space who are pretty much shielded from the tarification and the deglobalization that's happening today. But if a company is moving from a domestic heavy TAM to a export heavy TAM, again Mr. Market pays really strong attention. Now, this is all theory, right? What I also wanted to do was go into practicals a bit. And the only way I can do is, show some examples. Because all of this, guys, I'm doing to just set the context for the idea that I'm going to discuss today. So I want to take the example of Garware High-Tech Films. It falls under the first transformation category, which is the moving from established product segments to an increasing share of VAP. Again, the old focus was BOPET films, low margin packaging material, pretty much a commodity. Few years back, they did this value addition, move towards what we call the Sun Control films, huge hit product, not only in India, but globally. High margin, niche, value added, right? And how did Mr. Market react? It became 10x from the time that they announced the idea, implemented this idea, and brought the idea to market to the high point, which happened just before the tariffs hit them. It became a very quick 10x story. Now, don't look at the recent ones because they are a US export heavy business, and because of the tariffs, their margins got affected, etc. Hopefully, once the tariff gets resolved, we'll see the journey continuing. But the idea is that if we would have gotten into it when the company announced the idea and saw the execution of this idea, and we would have seen how market is rewarding. Very quickly, another idea from the same first transformation story is Polycab, right? I'm saying these ideas because all of us know, right? Old focus, commodity wires and cables. What is the value addition? FMEG portfolio, which is, the fast moving electronic goods portfolio, fans, lighting, switches, and appliances as well. Now, this value add had higher EBITDA margins, and the old business was also growing very well. Now, from the bottom to the top, it became a 6x, in 5, 6 years. And again, if we would have identified the idea, listen to what Polycab is saying and see the execution, we would have ran this journey. Now, for the second type of transformation, which is moving from a debt heavy balance sheet to a restructured balance sheet, I chose a, asset heavy business, GMR Airports, very boring business. They had a lot of non-core assets, capital intensive, highly regulated assets like, roads, power, non-airport assets. Yeah, start of 2020, 2021, they decided that, what, let me get rid of all the non-core assets and, just focus on airport management asset light strategy. Very boring business, but it delivered a 6x, again in, 4, 5 years. Why? Because market saw that they are restructuring their balance sheet, their finance cost is going to reduce, their ROCs are going to improve, and this is what the result was. And an example for the final type of transformation, SRF. I mean, nowadays, when you think of SRF, you would know that it's a, global leader in, in its segment, CDMO for, agriculture solutions and, pharma, etc. as well. But there was a time when it was originally just a packaging and technical textile player and only domestic focus. Obviously, they introduced new products, but more importantly, they took the products globally. What happened was a huge business transformation, higher margins, but global recognition of their capabilities. Again, the market rewarded them very well. From the time that they announced the idea to the top, it became an 8x, right? So again, going back to my point, if you have these three type of transformations and a company is into one of those and actually executes well, Mr. Market pays a little bit more attention. Now, what if I tell you that our category leader is in the middle of undergoing its transformation along these three dimensions, all these three of. So they are going from established product segments to increasing value added segments. They are reducing debt to restructure their balance sheet. And they are increasing their target addressable market by introducing new innovative products and taking it to the world. They are ticking all of these boxes. And on top of it, they are an R&D innovation leader. Its best is expected to be, in future. They are serving multiple critical industries, not dependent on a single industries. And then finally, available at very decent valuations, which is indicating a consistent compounder for multiple years. Now, this was the context setting of the idea that I'm going to discuss today. I know you guys are feeling this, so I'm going to jump right into the next part. Our category leader. Now, our category leader that I'm going to talk today is Timetechno Plast. It was very important for me to set the context because, the business is very straightforward. In fact, it might go into the boring category as well, but that's where most money is made. Now, what I'll be doing in this section is cover sort of, 5 points, right? I'll be covering about products, which according to me is the most important point for this business because a lot of interesting things are happening today, right? And just to give a very good snapshot, it's a global market leader in polymer and composite products, and we'll talk more about it. I'll also be talking a little bit about its innovation DNA. It's the first to build its type of products in India, in some cases globally as well. Okay, global presence, we'll talk about that. Solid clientele. I mean, when I was researching this business for a small cap, less than 10,000 crores company, the type of clients that they were having was amazing. And these were some of the clients which I worked with when I was an ex-management consultant. So I knew the size and scale of those clients. So again, for a small cap company to sort of have to be an exclusive supplier of their products to these, talks a lot about there. And then finally, I'll also talk a little bit about their financials, give my viewpoint as well. So the first one, right? Products. For their products, they have their established segment. Okay, and as you can see here, it's the four categories here: the industrial packaging, the infrastructure, lifestyle, and energy storage. So very quick sort of explanation around what each of these segments are. So industrial packaging, pretty straightforward: polymer drums, jerry cans, pails, etc. All of this is used to store a variety of materials, solids, and liquids, whether it's in petrochem, whether it's chemicals, sometimes even food, etc. as well. And obviously, one of the things that they did first in the industry was to have a type of automated and continuous process where no welds or joints were there. It's sort of a cash cow business for them. The other one is infrastructure, which is the HDPE pipes, which is the high density polyolefin pipes. Now, this pipe is basically used to transport liquid and gaseous material, whether it's water, whether it's sewer, whether it's some sort of CNG and LNG gas over long distances. It's unmatched resistance. It doesn't resist. It's very easier to handle and install compared to metallic pipes. And as I've written here, it's 100% leak proof. Lifestyle, very straightforward products: turf and matting, disposal bins. Not exciting. I mean, it's a small part of their business, but it is there. And energy storage devices, which is an improving part of their established segment. This is where the wall regulated lead acid batteries are there. So typically in the legacy batteries, a lot of times we have to pour in water to to make sure that the battery keeps running, etc. But in these type of batteries, hydrogen and oxygen are pumped in, and they are in the right composition, so the water forms automatically inside, so you don't have to keep pumping water in it, which sort of increases the maintenance, or rather reduces the maintenance side of things as well. And the valve basically regulates the hydrogen and oxygen pressure as well. Sounds simple, but technologically to implement it, it's a bit difficult. But it's one of those things which goes into the solar and the power ecosystem side of things as well. So products wise, established segment, the cash cow, currently roughly 70 to 75% of their business comes from these, and it has 55% market share in domestic industrial packaging. And for their cash cow, which is their industrial packaging and HDPE, they are the world's largest manufacturer, and it operates in 11 countries, and they are market leader in 9 out of 11. And guys, we are still talking about a small cap company. For them to achieve this, talks about their competencies. Now starts the interesting part, the value added segment, which is increasing every year, and which is contributing to, pretty much most of the trigger points that I'll be talking about in future. Now, intermediate bulk containers. These are the ones which handle, stores, transports large bulk liquids, paste, granules, etc. as well. Very easy to manage in a truck, through forklift, etc. as well. It's a very it's quite a hit product that came out of Time Technoplast, and it became a sort of one of the global leaders very very fast. So again, chemicals, petrochem, foods, the industry usage is quite a bit, and as I mentioned earlier, highly durable, highly eco-friendly, etc. And it was the first in India to launch these containers as well. And again, the more the trade increases between India and Asia, and India and rest of the world, and it has a lot of presence through their distribution and manufacturing in Asia as well, not only India. So the more India and Asia increases trade, that's a direct proxy for this business. Now, this is basically very important, the composite cylinders and cascades. Typically for LPG, CNG, and hydrogen, the legacy way of sort of transporting them, managing them, installing them is the steel cylinders, metal cylinders. Heavy, prone to explosions, very hard to maintain, they get rusted easily, and all of those things. When you go for the composite cylinders, which is pretty much a version of advanced version of polymer, you just lose all of those negative things: lightweight, longer life, explosion, and rust proof. And again, second largest manufacturer worldwide, approvals in 48 countries. And one of the trigger points, which again I'll expand in future slides, is that trial orders they have received from oil and marketing companies in India, like your HPCL, IOCL, etc. Now, OMCs in India want to move away from the steel cylinders to the composite cylinders. They have only one reason: these cylinders, the composite cylinders, are explosion proof. Although they are more expensive than the metal cylinders, but because they are explosion proof, because they have a longer life, because they can transport more gas, because they have less maintenance, the pickup of these products is happening very fast. Okay. And they have already received approval from PESO as well for the hydrogen transport of cylinders as well. PESO is, I believe, Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. And the last one is MOX films, probably the smaller part of their value added segment. It's high density durable plastic sheets is typically used in agriculture, and covering material when it gets transported over trucks, and covering material when it's stored in yards and warehouses, etc. as well. And again, it's a type of polymer and composite derivation of it. And again, it's tear free, chemical free, weather resistant, waterproof, and all those sort of things as well. So what I have told you until now, the established segment and the value added segment are revenue contributing in the range of established is between 70 to 75, and value is between 25 to 30. Now there is a third segment which is not revenue contributing right now, but they might do it depending on how the product uptake happens in the next few years. And that is what they call the high-tech segments. And this is where things, start getting a little bit more interesting. These are the upcoming stars. So there are actually few more, but I picked out, the top five where they mentioned, they have most of their conviction for. So the first one is around, the hydrogen cylinder for fuel cells. Again, the CVs, the heavy trucks, etc. as well. Again, typically they have metal cylinders, very heavy, etc. as well. Now, these sort of hydrogen cylinder for fuel cells, which time has sort of manufacturing for the first time in India, it's like 90% weight reduction, better fuel economy, reliable and safe, etc. as well. The second one, which sort of I'm personally excited to see how this product sort of uptake happens, is a composite cylinder for drones. And again, drones today typically runs on the battery variant, okay, which is 50%, heavier. It's less than, one third flying hours to what this composite cylinder for drones offers, and it has 3 hour charging versus 5 minute for, this sort of cylinder, which time is offering. Now, I don't think I need to sort of, talk about how much the drone industry can pick up in future in India and as well as globally as well. Now, this product is undergoing trials right now, and by end of December, we'll get to know how those trials go. Will they get, further certifications from PISO, and will they start winning orders as well? But the drone industry itself is supposed to go at a CAGR of 20 to 30% over multiple years, globally and in India as well. And if they can make the drones lighter, faster, more shelf life, faster charging, I mean, the ceiling is huge here. And the other one is the composite fire cylinder. Again, lighter, explosion proof, etc. This is something that Indian Railways is super excited about. They have recently, not recently, probably few quarters back, sort of passed a resolution that in most of their coaches and even at train stations as well, they want to replace the old legacy, steel-based cylinders with the composite fire cylinders, and more orders are expected here. The other one which they came up recently was, the composite cylinder for storing oxygen. And again, the obvious use case is hospitals, and also, things like firefighters, even inside homes, etc. as well. And the last one is around the air and hydraulic tanks for heavy vehicles. It's pretty much, in the same thing as hydrogen cylinder for fuel cells for heavy vehicles. But again, air tank, they were the first in the world to, come up with it. Hydraulic tank, first time in India as well. Now, this, all of the five products that I'm talking about, what they call the high-tech products, currently either they are not contributing our revenue or, very, very minimal. The optionalities for Time Techno lies around, this sort of, slide specifically. And this is where, I'll also, spend 30 seconds in what differentiates Time versus its peers. You have, players like Supreme Industries, which is super heavy into the HDPE pipes. Probably 60 to 70% of the revenue comes from them. You have things like, or rather, companies like Captain Polycast. Okay, maybe I'm, getting the name wrong, but Captain Technoplast, for example, it's a listed company, very recently listed. It's majorly into industrial packaging. More than 50% of their revenue comes from there. None of them have the R&D DNA, the innovation DNA, and the roadmap of products that Time has. And this is still a small cap company. And Supreme is, 40,000 crores. These guys are less than 10,000 crores. So what I'm trying to say is that one, they are existing market leaders in India and globally for their established products and increasingly in value-added products. And they are going to be leaders in some of very exciting products that they are going to come up with. Now, this is what, would excite me in a company. And this is what is exciting me in Time Technoplast as well. Just to finish, one thing which I wanted to highlight as well. Typically, whenever I look for a company, right, one of the risk mitigation measures that I look for is what about their use cases? Is it specific to one or two industries, or is it spread across multiple industries? That's the advantage Time Techno has as well. And for example, if one of the industries is going through a downturn, does the company has the withdrawal and the use cases and the products to shift their focus to other industries? Now, for a combination of their established and value-added products, I mean, look at the depth and breadth of products, multiple critical industries, all of them, have good features. So this was more about their products and, what is some of the good stuff that has already happened and what is expected to happen. Moving ahead, I spoke about their R&D and innovation DNA. And again, guys, for a small cap to become a mid cap, for a mid cap to become a large cap, they are not going to do it unless they keep on innovating, unless they sort of come up with new products or forward integrate, backwards integrate, go global, etc. as well. All of this requires that you innovate and come up with new stuff, and that's what Time Techno keeps doing it. So as you can see here, like market leader, first one to launch IBC, the second largest MOX film manufacturer, etc. as well. But I also picked up, something from their investor presentations and annual reports as well. They were the first to launch a lot of their products in India and as well as globally as well. Again, I'm insisting again and again, for a small cap company to have this level of R&D and innovation DNA is amazing. Typically you would expect this from, a mid cap or a large cap company. So, this is what sort of, made me a little bit excited about, their future as well. Global presence, again, very, very important because they have a good 30 to 35% of their business coming from exports. And as I mentioned, right in my first slide, or rather the second slide, the tarification and the deglobalization of the world is happening today. So, you need to make sure that if you are indeed planning to increase your exports, at least, don't have all of your eggs in one basket. And the basket that I'm referring to is obviously the USA here. And that's thankfully not the case in Time Techno. They are well spread out both in Asia, Middle East, Africa, and US as well. And one of the good things when I say spread out, it's not just having a distributor or marketing presence. They actually have manufacturing presence. Now that is very important, right? Because you cater to the global markets, but you can also escape tariffs and other blockages if God forbid happens on India. I mean, for example, they mentioned that wherever we feel high tariffs, we sort of move the production from India to other countries and just bypass those sort of things. I think similarly, TD Power, they have a plant in Turkey. They are leveraging more and more units out of this Turkey plant to escape the tariffs as well. Similarly, this is what Time Techno is doing as well. But the main message, again, for a company of its size to have manufacturing, not distribution, but manufacturing presence globally, it's quite amazing. And they can leverage how in world, global macro events happen. They can play around it. Global marquee clients. I mean, people like Cargill, people like BASF, AkzoNobel, Exxon, SABIC, Shell. These are huge, humongous enterprises by themselves. And Time Techno is, in most of the cases, not all, most of the cases, exclusive supplier or either IBCs of their industrial packagings, of their composite cylinders, etc. as well. And again, you will see a lot of good biggish small caps, smallish mid caps, etc., which move from that micro cap category from the 500 market cap to 500 to 5,000. Most of them will have this common thing. Their clients stick with them, trust their innovation, and this helps people like Time Techno, companies like Time Techno, whenever they come up with a new product, sell more, cross sell more, upsell more. And the more the clients are international, the more markets open up for them as well. But very important point, they have global market clients and in most of the cases, exclusive suppliers. And finally, I wanted to give a financial snapshot, the historical financial snapshot, at least, until very recently. So if you take the last 5 years, right, the revenues grew by 16%, but the PAT grew by 41%. I mean, obviously, no prizes for guessing. a big, strong operating leverage came in. But what's the reason behind it? So if I can expand on revenues, the established segment revenues grew by 13%, whereas the value added, which is basically the more interesting thing for us as investors, grew by 25%. And if I can add a bit more further commentary, the EBITDA margins average for the established segment is between 12.5 to 13%, and for value-added segments, it's quite higher, it's between 17.5 to 18.5. So you have an EBITDA margin segment which is almost close to 40 to 50% more margins than your established segment, and growing at a faster rate. And even the management is saying that, within the next 2 3 years, as a percentage of business will increase that by 10% more. I mean, that is what is one of the transformation stories, right? The first transformation case that I spoke about, is the company moving more from their established segment to a value added segment? The answer is yes. So this was a bit of the financial snapshot that I wanted to give, and why PAT is growing so much greater than revenues. What's happening between the segments, what's the type of EBITDA margin, etc. as well. I won't go into the details of their cash flows, their ROCs, etc. All of you guys are smart investors. One look at screen you can identify. But I wanted to focus on more of the interesting things that's happening in the business. So that's why I'm staying at this level. Now, I strongly believe actually, not because I'm presenting this idea, but I do strongly believe that Time Techno can be an entirely different, company in, give or take 5 years or so. Obviously, I can go wrong, but it's my belief currently. If all things fall in place, right? This is a summary of my personal viewpoint on the triggers that are in front of Time Techno. I spoke about it, increase in percentage of value-added products. So I won't again, go into the details of it. But some of the immediate triggers are auto OEMs are discussing for their composite cylinders, as I mentioned. Railways, they are expected to release big orders for their composite fire extinguishers. These guys are launching the product in Q4 and hopefully planning to expand based on the traction from railways in FY27. Non-core business divestment. If you remember, the second type of business transformation that Mr. Market loves is if you're moving from a debt-heavy balance sheet to a very light, restructured balance sheet. This is exactly what these guys are doing. They had a bit of legacy business in Middle East, plants, assets, equipment as well. And they divested 50% of it for roughly 200 crores. And further sale is being planned this year and next year. Another 125 crores would, go in. And obviously, all of this, will go into the debt reduction as well. But the main message is they are going out of some of their legacy non-core, and those sort of proceeds are going into their value-added segments as well. CNG cycle, very, very important. I spoke about OMCs, right? OMCs are, pretty much saying for the CNG cylinders and the CNG storage at the petrol tanks for the CNG petrol, or rather the CNG stations. I mean, everyone needs to move into the composite side of things. Again, the main reason is they are explosion proof, but also longer shelf life, easier to maintenance, etc. as well. Again, they are doing a huge capex here, will be commissioned by Q4 of it. And currently they are doing 400 crores, in this business, mostly, a bit of commercial and industrial segment, but OMCs will sort of, release big tenders according to them anytime soon. But the potential is to double in 2 3 years from 400 to 800 crores only, the composite CNG cylinders. And this will drive, the immediate triggers. Debt and cost reduction. Obviously, it also falls under the non-core business divestment. But recently they did a big QIP for 800 crores. And almost half of it is going towards debt reduction, and the rest of it is, is going towards a bit of capex, etc. as well. But they're also doing a bit of cost reduction as well. Their 75% of their power is going to come from green energy, and that is going to result in almost 30 crore saving from FY27. And they are also going to invest 120 crores for establishing 4 recycling plants to come up for their, basic raw material, which is polyethylene, basically for, captive consumption, their own consumption. But this will sort of, reduce their procurement dependency, which is currently a bit of imports and a bit of domestic buying, which is more spot buying. So that will sort of make them a bit less dependent on their suppliers, and obviously reduce their cost of goods sold as well. New high tech products, I spoke about it. Several new products either under development or advanced stages of OEM approvals, railways approval, CV manufacturers approval as well. That's the third segment, the high tech products that I spoke about, the non-revenue contributing as of now, but it offers significant growth potential. And for me, the most important thing, the optionalities, right? I mean, HDPE pipes, although it's part of the established segment, but wasn't a major contributor. Recently, BIS certification and approval was done for Timetechno, and immediately it got a big order for 190 crores. And they're further expecting in the next 1 or 2 quarters further orders of 300 crores. Now, HDPE pipes, guys, Supreme Industries is the absolute market leader here. No challenger so far, at least domestically. Now, Timetechno might be then that next competitor for Supreme. E-rickshaw batteries, which comes under one of their subsidiaries actually, the market is growing at sorry, it's a small typo. The market is growing at 25% CAGR. They recently got their required approval from International Center for Automotive Technology, and the target addressable market is 6,400 crores. Even if they win 10% of it, I mean, 640 crores for a small company over the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, the potential is huge. Drone cylinders pilot to compete in December 25. Guys, drones is the next big thing, if you ask me. In defense, in e-commerce, in a lot of ways, B2B activities will be done. So yeah, that's an optionality. Even they don't know what the TAM is, to be really honest today. First, they want to make sure that the product is certified, the trials are completed, and probably they'll start. I expect them to start talking more about, their composite cylinder for drones in the upcoming quarters. OMCs, as I mentioned earlier, big tenders are expected by IOCL, BPCL for LPG cylinders shortly. To be really honest, this got delayed a bit. I think the management didn't confirm, indicated probably 2 quarters back that, yeah, these tenders are going to be released, and we are expecting a decent win conversion here, and that will add to our order book. I mean, it's a government company, OMCs, at the end of the day, they delayed it. And I think in spite of, good results in Q2, probably that's why, a bit of muted reaction happened as well. But they are saying, yes, the big tenders for LPG cylinders, will happen shortly. And I also spoke about the power sector batteries, the approval, it might come in Q4. But the optionalities part, guys, most of it is not revenue contributing at all or very minor revenue contributing as of now. If the optionality segment open up, that's where the company growing at a 15% CAGR might touch a 20 to 25% CAGR on a revenue basis. That's the optionality. Even if it doesn't happen, the rest of the things are in place. If everything falls in place, 5+1, that's when Timetechno will go into a different beast. That's what is my belief, in the next 4 or 5 years. Because I can't say it will happen in the next 2 3 years, because optionalities is one thing which requires a lot of approvals, certifications, market acceptance, new competitors might come in. We'll only get to know once these, new interesting high-tech products, start hitting the market. Okay. I'm going to pretty much, end the section on Timetechno just by doing two things. Just let's revisit the three things that we spoke about at the start, the type of business transformations. Now, the question is, will Mr. Market reward Timetechno? We have to see how Timetechno is holding up its side of the deal, right? The first one, is it moving from established product segments to increasing share of value-added segments? The answer is yes. I'm not going to bore you with repeating the same, but I spoke a lot about it. Debt heavy balance sheet to a restructured balance sheet? Absolutely yes. They sold a bit of non-core assets, and even from the QIP, 400 crores went towards debt reduction, and they are doing increasingly, cost reduction measures as well through power, recycling for captive consumption, etc. as well. And finally, from a limited domestic heavy TAM to an expanded TAM, absolutely yes. The TAM increases because of the new products, and they can take more of these products internationally where they already have a huge manufacturing and distribution presence, they have international clients as well. A lot of upselling and cross-selling can happen as well. Now, this is why I told you guys, our category leader is ticking boxes, against the three most common transformation cases that Mr. Market likes. I went one step ahead because we are living in the world of AI. I actually sort of, picked up the investor presentations, the con calls, and as well as the annual reports from the last 5 years, and just shared it with, our AI friend and asked, is Time Techno walking the talk, right? Now, this is the AI version. I agree with probably 70 to 80% of it, but this is what the AI version is saying, right? For all of the years and for the 2 quarters until now. I mean, forget about all of these things. The last column, indicator, right? Guys, I have a lot of conversations with Puneet Bhai. I follow him a lot. One thing he says, if you are following a small cap or micro cap journey, right? I mean, you need to be patient. There will be a lot of peaks and troughs. You need to sort of, see a bit of, broader vision. If you become a quarter by quarter or even a year by year one, then micro cap and, small cap investing is not for you. There is a reason why he says it, because it's very difficult for a small cap and a micro cap company to sort of have that super consistency year after year, quarter after quarter, because there will be a bit of dips here and there. But still, having said that, our AI friend is saying that in the last 5.5 years, whatever they said, they have achieved, overachieved, met most of the times. It's only in FY23 that they missed. Now, I really encourage you guys to do this exercise for all of the small caps that it's in your watch list, or even in your investing category. I did it for myself, and Time Techno surprisingly was the only one which gave me a 5 out of 6, either achieved, overachieved, or met in the last 5.5 years. So that talks also about a bit about the consistency of delivery, about management. They don't overpromise, or whatever they promise, most of the times they deliver as it. Now, this ends basically a bit of explanation on our category leader, why it's an exciting idea, what are some of the optionalities, which is the most important thing according to me, and the triggers around it. Now, the projections. This is my third ALD presentations, and this is the common thing that I say in all my ALD presentations, is that this is the least important part of it, because we need to get excited about the second part, which is the thesis and the idea itself. But I myself do, projections for the ideas that I study. So I don't want to be a hypocrite and say that we should not do projections. But my message is that we should not make a decision solely based on projections. The idea, the industry, the triggers are probably 90% of it. So for the projection side of things, these are going to be earning projections. Might sound like fantasy, might not. It really depends if you have done in-depth study of the idea, because your belief of the projections depends on how well you understand the company, how well you have studied the investors, their commitments, their achievements as well. Because if they say 25%, you will know, yes, these guys can deliver 25% because of, all of their historical record, their approvals as well. And if they say 50%, you would immediately know, no, these guys are bullshitting. Absolutely no way. But to get to that stage where you can confidently say that, you need to sort of, spend a bit of time there. And even after doing that, at the end of the day, it's a projection. It's a future looking thing, and it can go wrong. But having said that, let's still take a shot of it, right? I believe, I typically do very conservative assumptions, because I believe that even if I go wrong, then I shouldn't lose that much of money. So for a revenue growth side of things, 15% is what I've assumed for the next 3 years. From an EBITDA margin perspective, it's a management sort of commentary that we will increase the EBITDA margins by 20 basis point every year for the next 3 years, eventually reaching 15% by FY28, which is 0.2% increase. So, that is what I've taken. From a finance cost perspective, as I told you, because of the QIP, because of the sale of non-core assets, they are going to save a lot on the finance cost interest rate. approximately 30 to 35 crores annually. And that is what, I've reflected, especially for the next 2 years before it starts getting a bit more stabilized. So yeah, keeping all sort of, calculations in mind, it's just at the end of the day calculations, I'm getting to a 25% CAGR in the, profit growth for the next 3 years. Now, how does it reflect in terms of, say, a bit of sensitivity modeling around the PE and the market cap? Now, that's what, let's have a look. Okay. So these are the financial projections for the next 3 years. All numbers are in crores, right? So currently the market cap is 8,996. In the bear case, if I take a PE of 20, I'm getting a CAGR of 24% over the next 3 years, absolute, growth of 72%. If I go for the base case where I give the company a 25 PE, which is, more or less their median average for, the last few years, the CAGR is coming at 36% with an absolute of 115%. And then finally, for the bull case, if I give, this will happen when, either half or more of the optionalities, come to life. I think it might even go to 35, but again, with the caveat that the optionalities part, which I spoke about, really opens up. If it doesn't open up, most probably, it might be between 25 to 30 if 5 out of the 6 figures, play around, which most of them are in play as well. But for the bull case, giving a P of 30, we will sort of, come to a CAGR of 46% and an absolute return of 158% for the next 3 years. Now, these are again financial projections, completely my perspective. Take your own call. But I believe that I think it's an interesting juncture idea. Inflection point, definitely. And I think reasonable valuation if you compare it to the peers and even its own historical valuation. I also wanted to take sort of, look at, the technical side of things. I'll admit, not my strong point, but, I still took a stab at it. I think from the time that it took a huge sort of breakout, in and around start of 2023, went into a channel, pretty much a 4x, 5x story there. Start of this year, the tariff, not tariff, yeah, a bit of tariff, a bit of orders getting delayed, etc. hit, especially on the composite cylinders. That's when a bit of dip happened all the way until 150. It hit its all-time high again, in the month of September as well. But again, going back into the range. But my take on the chart is that it's all-time high is 250. I believe it will be a blue sky zone beyond it. If the new orders come in, new approvals come in, and some of the optionalities start paying in the next 1 or 2 quarters, I think it will go beyond the blue sky zone, and that's why the 250 is a strong resistance. And the last bottom was around 150s, and it's a big bottom. It's a big support zone. I see a potential big drawdown if it goes beyond it. So if you look at the charts, I think you need to remember two cross points. If you have a good volume-based breakout above 250, I think it will indicate a start of the next good run. And if it's a breakdown below 150, I mean, we might have big trouble. My opinion, presenter opinion, I am going for staggered buying if it's in the zone of 150 to 250, and by respecting the market situation as well. If I see market reacting very wildly, I'll probably even hold back on staggered buying. If I see that a bit of small uptrend has happened, maybe I'll increase it. But I'll go for staggered buying mostly because of the market situation, and I'll respect the support zone and resistance zones here for my buying and exiting decisions. So that was a bit on the projection side, the technical takes, the pricing points as well. Obviously, risk is something that we need to be aware of. I think OMC's adoption of composite cylinders, the orders, big tenders that are expected from IOCL, BPCL, and the likes of it, which sort of got delayed by a couple of quarters. I think if there are further delays, I think market is really looking forward to it. And if there are further delays, then not sure how the market would react. Hydrogen storage tank for CVs and OEMs, testing is happening, approval processes are happening. So, if things get delayed there, that optionality gets delayed. Obviously, the raw material, volatility, I mean, its raw material is polyethylene. I mean, it will impact the operating margins if it happens. Yes, there is still a bit of non-core business that needs to be divested, I think to the tune of 200 odd crores. I think they have shown already that they delivered what they promised by getting the big chunk out of it for 200 crores already. So yeah, I mean, if there is a further delay, then yeah, I mean, the market might not look, good at these sort of things. And at the end of the day, polymer is their, key starting material as well. It's a commodity as of now. It tends to follow crude prices. So you have the crude prices fall drastically low, or it sort of goes up high, the volatility, will definitely affect them. So, guys, this was pretty much it from my side. I hope that, you know, I gave a bit of clarity on, time techno and the good stuff. Obviously, I didn't cover, all of the things like, the promoters or, the DII, FII thing. I think, again, you guys are very smart investors. You guys can, go through their basics. I wanted to focus on, only the most important stuff, which is, the optionalities, the triggers, why it's at an important juncture as well. Hopefully, I didn't push you guys at this stage after the entire presentation to think along these lines. But if you guys are thinking along these lines, then let me sort of just use my final slide, which is the summary slide. If you sort of again remember only this slide, I think it will be good enough. Industry is an established industry, stable industry, but new emerging use cases are coming up, which I spoke about. Product wise, the entire packaging and that sort of stuff, where especially metal cylinders, metal stuff are being used, they are increasingly moving towards composite and other non-metal alternatives, which is very good for time techno, and it's new sort of markets that are opening up. Players, very limited players with the scale, R&D importantly, and the global network. And among those players, Time Techno has the global and domestic leadership, definitely first in India for most of its products.
फिर भाग गई
It has solid triggers. As I mentioned, the value added percentage is increasing, margins are increasing, their TAM is increasing, debt is getting reduced, and they have solid capex for their value added products. And then finally, from a returns perspective, again, personally, my opinion, you need to make your own opinion. Reasonable valuations, and I think it won't be like a super stock which will give you 2x, 5x, 10x in couple of years, but it has potential to be a strong and consistent compounder. So guys, that's it from my side. Really, thank you very much. I know it's a weekend. You guys have taken out time to sort of hear about this idea from me. Obviously, as always, thanks a lot to Puneet Bhai to keep pushing me to sort of deliver ideas here. Thanks for your trust, Puneet Bhai. And yeah, I mean, to all the presenters, I know we have other jobs as well, but you guys, including myself, taking out time and sort of delivering high quality ideas for the audience. I think all of you guys have done a great job. Hopefully, I made the last 30-40 minutes worth your time. Yeah, let's take it on from here.
Great, Fashad bhai. I got more conviction. I am holding from long, but I got more conviction after listening to you. So the way you present, right, it's amazing. I'm learning something on this part.
Thank you, Puneet Bhai.
Yeah. So guys, any questions for Fashad? The drones part, if you've read right, the drones part, do you think they will make some breakthrough there?
The testing process is happening according to them, and the results will come by end of December 25. So yeah, they didn't talk a lot even in their recent con calls, etc. I think Puneet Bhai is one of those optionalities which are still very very early phases for them. I mean, for example, e-rickshaw, which one of their subsidiaries, is doing. It's a very advanced product, although it hasn't hit the market. So they mentioned clearly the TAM is 6,400 crores. We want to, get at least 10% of it. For drones, they haven't spoken along these lines yet. So, but I sort of highlighted that because I'm personally excited about the drone industry, see huge potential not only for defense but also industrial applications. And if their product eventually breaks through, I think it will have a good TAM by itself there. But yeah, the time techno guys specifically sort of didn't talk a lot about it. So yeah, it's hard to say. Probably in the next con call, I'm sure the analysts will ask, yeah, you guys said that by December 25, some approvals testing will happen. What's the result? So yeah, let's wait and hear.
Yeah. So we have two more people waiting for questions. So we'll go with Ram first and then Somnath. So Ram, you can unmute and answer.
Hey, hi Farshad. First of
Hello.
all, great presentation, buddy. Thanks so much. Like Puneet said, I've been also holding for some time and watching what to do. So this gives more conviction. Just couple of doubts. I've been also tracking time techno since while. So one is that with all this transformation going on, right? I
Yes.
was like hoping or expecting that the promoter group should up their stake a little bit, right, in the company if there is so much value unlock likely, right? But recent quarter there was a like 4% dilution, right? There is some buyback happened in November, but it's a very small quantity. What is your take on that? Is that something to not alarming, but how do you see that?
Yeah, no, I think, see, from March 23 onwards, in fact, even if I go before March 23, their promoter stake has been, in the 51-52% thing. In the November period, actually, a big QIP happened. And this QIP was taken up majority by this gentleman called Prashant Jain from 3P Equity Fund, who was sort of a couple of decades the leader for, if I remember right, the SDFC Mutual Fund, very value focused fund manager. Now, this QIP was done obviously because they had to reduce debt, number one, which they promised. Number two, they needed, capex for their composite cylinder plants and a lot of other value added product initiatives and the new recycling plants, the new investment into some of the green energy in-house power plants as well. So I think they had announced very clearly that we are doing QIP. Entire money is going towards two things: debt reduction and a bit of internal activities. So I think as long as it's used for the right purposes and it falls under one of the transformation objectives that the management highlighted, in following 2-3 years, I think it's okay. Yes, as an investor, once these things stabilizes, let's give or take 2, 3, 4 quarters, I would love to see they coming back and increasing the stage. So I think they are at a stage where a bit of there are few moving parts, right? They have to reduce debt, and by doing this, they are saving 30 crores, 35 crores annually on the finance cost. So that is a big thing. It eventually goes into your PAT, your ROCE as well. They are going to invest into their value-added product, their fastest value-added product, which is the CNG composite cylinder, and they are going to sort of secure their supply chain by building internal recycling plants. So as an investor, I'm happy with how they use these proceeds by reducing their stake. What I would love to see is that once things get stabilized, after 3-4 quarters, they start increasing the stake. If they keep on doing it, if they keep on reducing their stake by sort of selling their stake and investing here and there, that would not give me confidence, because it would also mean that they are not delivering enough cash flows for the internal accruals to do that. But yes, after a long time, if they reduced once for a lot of moving parts, I'm taking it at an okay basis. But probably more from here, I'll have my doubts on if they are doing it in the right ways, the capital allocation right, are they managing the cash flows right, is the cash flows going back into the business right. I would doubt those sort of things, but I wouldn't take it negatively as of now.
Thanks, Farshad. Thank you. Well articulated, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Somnath.
Hey, hi everyone. Farshad, very nice presentation. One of the best I've heard this season. Many thanks and a lot to learn from you. Regarding Time Techno, yeah, I was holding this last year and recently sold a few months back. The main problem I found is the crude price fluctuation, which is a big antithesis. The reason being, it is a double problem. Being one is inventory loss, second is revenue loss due to value growth. So this is the major antithesis pointer that I find, and it is not crude price going high, rather crude price going low, which is the problem. So How do you think like management should do something about it, um, or
Yes.
or is it fine to go with it?
Yeah. No. I see your point. That's why, I highlighted it as, one of the risk under the business segment.
Yeah.
See, typically, whenever a company, uses a raw material which has crude price as, the proxy for it, I would look
Hmm.
at few things. Is the type of products that they are working on expanding? Because the more value-added products will give them a bit more pricing power. For example, if they manufacture only the industrial packaging, which is one of the segments in their established segment, and one of the products which, for example, Captain Polycast, they mostly manufacture that bit. Now, for them, whenever this crude price volatility hits, they don't have many levers to play around. Now, Time
Hmm.
Techno, if they sort of, have other products, either in established or value added, or even, in the upcoming segment high tech, which they are one of the very few suppliers, they can pass on those, crude price increases, decreases, volatility to customers. That's the way they can play, number one. And, Time Techno is going along that direction. Okay, number one. Number two, obviously, if they have sort of increase, or not increasing, but if they have established manufacturing facilities worldwide, right? So, which obviously also means that, where you are procuring your crude from, or the type of products, polyethylene, basically in Time Techno's case, the availability in those specific countries or in and around, that also one of the ways that they can hedge a bit, because the transportation cost, the availability, and where you are, you might have some of the local countries where you are present. For example, they are present in Saudi, they are present in Egypt, they are present in, one of the other GCC countries. Maybe the availability of polyethylene there might be, few percentage point lower compared to, what they sort of do it in India. So by also, making sure that they utilize their international presence, international manufacturing presence smartly, they can play around these things. But the short answer is, it is a risk. They do get impacted. But if I sort of look at a bit long term, right, their revenue sort of increased by 16% over the last 5 years, but their, profits grew by 40%, which means that, there will be periods when, there will be a bit up and down, but the long term trajectory is that operating average is there, and, they do manage, uh, you know, a bit of that through maybe hedging, etc. as well. And sorry, the last point, Somna, the last point, the recycling plants. This is also one of the reasons they are investing into coming up with 4 recycling plants. And they mentioned very clearly, one in north, one in south, one in east, one in west, because their manufacturing facilities are spread across India. So that is also going to reduce a bit of the raw material price volatility for them, because they will, pretty much produce their own raw material now through recycling for captive consumption. I don't know what percentage of their raw material will come from, these 4 recycling plants, but that's also one of the sort of, ways. So overall, if I can summarize, the more they go into value added products, the more pricing power they have, the more they can pass on this raw material crude price volatility thing. Second one, using their international manufacturing presence smartly to procure at a slightly lower prices, especially from the GCC countries. And the third one is the recycling plants for their raw materials. If they can at least get 20, 30, 40% for captive consumption at a very sort of, good price, secure price without any distribution, I think these are the levers they are playing around with managing it. This would be my take on it, but it is a risk. I've highlighted it, and you need to live with it. So that's why we need to probably extend our horizon a bit more. If you track probably half year by half year, yeah, you will see that volatility. Probably year by year, even 2 years by 2 years, yeah, you might sort of, see the companies managing it well. Sorry for the long answer, but this is my perspective.
Yeah, one correction here. Passing on the raw
Yes.
material price doesn't work here. Doesn't work here. The reason being,
Oh, no.
Time
Yes.
Technoplast,
Time Good.
Technoplast, where the crude price increases, it doesn't affect margin. It is good. It is the problem with crude price going low, where the
Yes.
inventory loss affects, and because you are passing on the raw material price, what happens? The sales price go down. So
Yes.
in fact, if they don't pass on the raw material price to the sales,
For
then it
them.
is better for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a problem. Like I would have liked the company management to come out and say to either hedge fully the inventory, or they should not pass the raw material price to the customer. They should stick
Yeah.
to a maybe fixed contract. That was my take. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Very nice answers and very nice
Farshad, I have
presentation.
one question. Uh,
I'm done.
Farshad,
Yeah.
Farshad, can you listen me?
Yes.
Yeah, Farshad, any clue about, since e-rickshaw is a totally different vertical and it is not aligning with any of their legacy business, neither it is in plastic or, and it is highly competitive also. Then why did they enter this business of e-rickshaw? Any clue given by management at any time?
So it's not e-rickshaw, it's the e-rickshaw battery specifically, and that battery is sort of, the outer material, a bit of lining is, based on composites and polymers as well, which is basically, an extension of their business. And one, it's not their core business as of now. It's not a revenue generating one. It's one of their subsidiaries, I'm forgetting the name, that they have come up with this product. So yeah, again, when you talk about a composite cylinder, right? I mean, eventually it passes on, either LNG, CNG, etc. They are, giving that outer shell and the inner shell made a bit of composite and polymers. Similarly, for e-rickshaw batteries, okay, e-rickshaw batteries, that's the thing that they are giving in. Obviously, they are assembling the entire thing, but the main casing, the main structure around it is a polymer product, a composite product as it. Now, why they are coming into it? One, it's a sort of derivative of what they are doing now. Yes, it's a bit of a new vertical for them. Number two, they see a huge TAM. So if you go through their investor presentation, what they're saying is that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, the target addressable market only in India is 6,400 crores. And we want to be conservative. Even if we win 10% of it, it's 640 crores for the next 2, 3 years. And that is huge for Time Technoplast. So, that's basically the logic behind it. But, just to answer the main question, it's not a completely unrelated business, because, it's, that's what they sort of, eventually do. How to transport materials, how to package materials. So instead of LNG, CNG, it's the battery power that they're doing it. So that basically is the concept behind why they have come up inside it. But again, it's not a core business. It's not a revenue generating business. It's one of the optionality as of now. If it clicks, good. If it doesn't, then, they have the other ones anyways, the main ones going on right now.
Okay. Thank you, Farshad. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Farshad. Thank you, other guys, for asking relevant questions as well. So, any other questions? Just ask him in the chat itself. Yeah, Farshad, you're saying something.
No, I'm saying sure. Thanks, Puneet bhai.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll take in the chat from this point. Move to the next presenter. I think we have Devang here as the next presenter.
Hey, hi, Puneetji. Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Thanks. And I hate Farshad. He sets the bar very high that I believe I don't think I can meet, but I'll try. Farshad, you really have a good sense of presenting and enacting in entire audience at least for an hour without they taking their eyes off from the screen. So kudos to you, man.
Thank you, Devang bhai. Thank you.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Puneet bhai, for giving this opportunity. And as I'm Devang Pathak, presenting in like third time, and I would be taking one company we'll be discussing, and that will be from pharma industry. So let's look into it. But before go ahead into that company, let's talk about something: how pharma company are growing and what are the projections. And before we go ahead, I would like to call it out that this presentation is only intended for the knowledge sharing, which I have done the digging. Before you invest, do your own research. I'm not an expert or advisor. I might be right and wrong in many ways. Cool. So let's talk about the global pharma market, how the world sees it. As you can see, global pharma market is expected to grow by let's say by 7% till 2028. Uh, the major part which will be covered will be either by innovator who are going for patents and all, and the other piece which is the regulated market, and that's going to dominate, and emerging market. So you can see the regulated part, which is having like 1258.7 a crore, sorry, the $1 billion industry that is, which is definitely going to grow. But more than that, the something is going to grow is regulated, sorry, the emerging market, which is like in the developing country, plus India, the South, the Asian countries, and the African countries. These are the ones which are falling under the emerging market. So those going to grow by 7.5, and the major share which is which will be handled, which will be by the US folks. You can see the US always having the uh, influence or exerting its dominance on the global pharma market. But the question, if we are saying so कि ऐसा grow होने वाला है global pharma market, क्यों होगा ऐसा? What all the growing drivers? So first of all, as we can see, the population is increasing day by day. We have few countries which are either into the aging zone or will be aging in the aging zone, and it is expected that population over 60 will be doubled, and it will reach by 2.8 billion by 2050. So बहुत लोग बूढ़े होने वाले हैं, and when they grow old, there are chances, not chances, but there's certainty that they will need the drugs as in medicines and all. Plus, as you can see the trend, the chronic disease are increasing day by day. So as of now, you can see that almost as of now, what I have observed, 1 in 5 having chronic disease, and probably in the earlier and the coming times, there will be one out of 3 adult will be having the chronic disease condition, and it will reach around 47 trillion in 2030, जो कि ज़्यादा दूर है नहीं. And now the major impacting nations would be the nation which are into the developing phase, as I mentioned that like Africa or the India or other Asian part of it. So वो लोग ज़्यादा ही इस side पे रहेंगे, because those are the one who are into the like they are into as of now like 40s 50s. They will be aging through the time, or they will be demanding these. And for these, the strong companies have already started investing in research and development. That क्या कर सकते हैं, what they can deliver to manage this, and you can say the grip the profit out of it. And post COVID-19 also, you can see that people are pretty much proactive towards their health. छोटी छींक आती है तो भी they rush to the doctor. Now it is not like that कि नहीं 6-7 दिन आराम कर लेते हैं. We will see if it subdue with the time. Okay, next, regulated pharma. As you can see, kind of duplicate slide. US का dominance कैसा है वो आप देख सकते हैं. 77% ग्लोबल फार्मा से वो ऑलरेडी करके रखा हुआ है dominance. You can see in 2023 data. Next is North America account, which is 62% of global pharma market, and you can see how much it is it is contributing towards it. The North America having 6.9 CAGR, it is expected to grow. And the generic one, you can see, as I already mentioned, that will be growing day by day and year on year. And now, if you see that if you have to connect what I just mentioned in the previous slide, that US account for 43 global pharma market, and 56 out of the global market, and 91% will be from the North American market itself. बहुत सारे barriers हैं. The reason being कि US में there are lot many audits, there are lot many forms which to be filled. You can see that two red notes which I mentioned, that there are 483, which is the list of observation they issue before you go into the market. You have to file something, and if you are coming checking their all checklists, then only you can go and market your medicine into the market. And plus, if you are not meeting that, there is a OAI, which is official action indicated, and then definitely you cannot go if by the failure. So आप जितना ज़्यादा market में अपने products लेकर जाएंगे, there are chances that you will not go until unless you're not passing the entire their regulations and all. Yes, over here, growing drug demand, as I mentioned, that we have emerging pharma market, which is in India, Africa, and some part of Asia, where we are expecting that the IPM, I forgot that what is the IPM, so India pharma market, yeah. India pharma market, it will be like the fastest growing market because of we are dealing in generic medicines. And as of now, we can see that oral solid, which is like OTC, जो हम लेते हैं और खा लेते हैं, it will be again dominating the entire pharma industry for now. So we can say that the generic drugs will be dominating the entire emerging pharma industry by 96% of drug consumption. And you can see the graph how it is shown year by year, and it will be growing. Now, the company which I wanted to elaborate what they are doing and how they are doing is senores pharmaceutical company, which is engaged in developing manufacturing pharmaceutical products, especially in US, Canada, and UK. Especially they are, you can see the graph over here that is 66% of their revenue comes from the regulating market, and there are 20% of revenue coming from the emerging market. They're having three branches, senores and avis. This is majorly contributing towards the regulatory market, where they are kind of going into the R&D and developing CDMOs, etc., etc. And Ratnaris, if I'm pronouncing it right, it is majorly involved in the emerging pharma market. They are contributing towards that. Business vertical, as I mentioned, having two business vertical majorly. One is regulated one and one is emerging one. In regulated market, you can see they are primarily focused in US, North America, UK, etc. They're having 32 commercialized product, 81 approved ANDA product, 70 into the pipeline, and 50 for the CGT. Okay, and for the emerging one, they have long list. Because वहाँ पे उतना regulation है नहीं, so they have taken that risk and going let's say 824, which are they have already filed for the product application, and out of it 94 are already registered. They are already present in 40 plus countries, and they are into the discussion and trying to have their footprint into the next 10 countries. What they are trying to target is API business. What I have read is they are trying to have the API vertical integration in India, so that they are trying to, and plus the generic medicine, which is their main what I say content they go for. They do the business engineering industry only. So the question comes is that if they are into the regulated market and plus emerging market, will they sustain to do so? So in my point of view, yes, they will be able to. How? So these are some things which I have gathered from the slides. So they have a distinct capacity, specialty and complex product portfolio, जो कि वो बहुत ही short span में बनाते हैं. Why I'm saying short span? Because in the graph you can see they have taken, the company have taken the average that how much time does it take to produce to have the CGT exclusively, and they are standing on the second top. The first one with my research is Somerset. I'm not sure which company it is. Second is Senores. Third is Lupin. Fourth is Dr. Reddy, and fifth is Kaplan. So when CGT is granted, when it is granted, FDA determines that is it. It is an inadequate generic competition. When there are lot many, they pick some company, and if they are proving to do so, they get 180 days window where the other competing generic companies do not contribute, they get that time so that they establish, they can foothold in the market, and they can have a better opportunity to penetrate the market. So as you can see, in the late 24, the 4 out of 19 US FDA approved NDA had the CGT designation, and this company has chlorozapine 250 mg, which was launched with a 6-month exclusivity window, and they had the high market share into it. And this is again data from the stock access. Their key strength, they're having the long-term marketing agreement with the other pharmaceutical companies, which we call it CDMO, CMO. So what they do, they identify, they develop, they commercialize complex niche products into the mid-market range. And as you can see in the both revenue model, they're having licensing fee, transfer pricing sharing, and profit sharing model. So यहाँ पे वो लोग जो बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, like for given example, you can see the agreement with they did is with Sun Pharma, Alkem, Dr. Reddy, etc. 5 to 7 years, जहाँ पे उनके लिए प्रोडक्ट बनाएंगे, उनके लिए मार्केट करेंगे, and they will go along with them so that the consistent revenue is generated. And they also trying to going into the market and grabbing other customers as well, so that if in case some of them are not fulfilling or they are not continuing with the agreement in near future, they can have other companies into the bucket, and they can generate the revenue and do not go bankrupt. And the emerging market portfolio, you can see, as I already mentioned, I mean, there are 824 products already being application failed, 394 listed, etc., etc. So as I mentioned, there are few countries where they are trying to footprint their business. So you can see that where they are going for, and the few generic what you can say uh, drugs which they marketed in real time, I mean in the near time, these are the one which I have already mentioned in the slides. I don't think so I can name them all because they are tongue twister for me. If we talk about how they're gonna do it, they have a strong R&D capacity, and that is into the US majorly, because that is the place where they are having the major revenue out of it. And a few upcoming facility they are having. You can see that the third OCD line, they are expected to be operational by Q3 2026, and the fourth OCD line by Q4 26 again. By this, they are expecting that they will be 2xing their entire capacity. As of now, with their operating lot lesser than that. And on the second, in the emerging market side, they're having one facility in India, which is in Ahmedabad. They are entirely, what we say, that they are contributing towards the oral part of it. They are trying to go for injectable. I mean, for the injectable, I just remember one company, you might have seen this Kaplan. So Kaplan is one of the company which is, I'll say, topping the injectable piece. So if you guys want to study that as well, please do so. Okay, so coming to the topic, they are also going to injectables, and they are going for the oral pieces. So majorly they are trying to tap the entire emerging market through India. You can see these are the major contributor towards their revenue, be it by the long-term agreement or short-term agreement, but these are the major clients, which is on your screen. Key strength, okay, the key strategies which they are seeking so that it can give them future growth. They are enhancing market in North America, setting up their sterile injection facility in US as well. They are trying to do the acquisitions, which I'm not sure if they are into paper, because these are just their thoughts. So I have put it over here. So if they are planning, because they have acquired this Ratna race, then they have acquired the company with A. So I am having the confidence that they will go for the growth by the acquiring companies which will contribute towards the growth. And they're having strategic alliance with the regulated market players. They are expanding their horizon into the new regulated and emerging markets, and plus also they are trying, the API integration and the injectable integration and injectables from US and India as well. So these are their growth strategies which they are eyeing up to. These are a few snapshots which I have gathered from their con call. So what I could see is in 2026, they have 6 to 8 new products which are into their pipeline, and there are 2 capacity lines which will be operative in the Q3 24, so Q3 26 and Q4 26. So with that, they will be having good capacity, and from if things go well, from 2027, they will be having enough inventory, and they will be having enough uh, products to go into the market with a full scale and all. If things go well, by 2028, they have been having the vertical integration for the API, which is planned in India as well as in US. And even though they have given the guidance of the target of 25 to 30 of CAGR on revenue growth, so I'm counting on that, because for last several quarters, I have seen that they have delivered what they have promised on the, at least on the CAGR, on the growth part. So you can see a few words from their con call that we literally handle our customer right from the product idea to launch this CDM, which gives me a good confidence in them. And there are only 4 to 5 US players which are doing so. So when we say 4 to 5 US players, I tried to dig, but I couldn't come up with the names. Sorry about that. And the risk dispersion. So even, I mean, as I mentioned, that they are trying to have a more and more long-term contracts from the other good pharmaceutical players, and they are trying to tap their footprints into emerging markets. So they said that the revenue risk, which is as of now concentrated, will be dispersed, and they will be having enough growth path towards their revenue generation. As of now, we can see that it is backed by the industry tailwinds. We always are aware that US, because of US regulations, we can say they are always shortage on the generic, and whichever are the patented one are pretty much not, they are not pocket friendly, they're pocket heavy, I'll say. So if they are doing good job into them, then definitely they have a good chance to grow. They have a solid audit track record. So far, they did not have any regulatory audit, be it from US or be it from their client, which they have done. I mean, the client, if they have done to the facilities, they have gone. No observation found, no this 483, which is the inspection criteria which they go for, have found. So again, that gave me strong belief in them. They having the DEA license, which is again very crucial to get to have the entry into the regulated market, and they are one of few. And why I'm saying one of few, because there are players like Lupin, Dr. Reddy, Sun Pharma, which are already either in the large cap domain or in the mid cap domain. Caplin again, which is again the 14,000 crore industry, that is a company that is. So again, it is having a mid cap. So it is as of now standing at 3.7 3,700 crores as of now. So there is a long way to go if they're having this license, and they are doing the walk in the top, what they have promised so far. Having a robust pipeline, so I won't cover that. Even though they have mentioned that they're having 4 pillars which will make them grow, that is expansion their the ANDA portfolio, and scaling their client base in the regulatory market, portfolio expansion in emerging market, and scaling the branded generic business in India. So these are the 4 pillars which they are pitching as of now. Well, if whatever they're saying, is it showing on the numbers? In my lenses, yes. If I looking at the year-on-year growth, they have delivered very good numbers. So this H2 26. So I'm pretty much impressed that their revenue grew by 59%, but the PAT grew by more than 100%. So that is good, which I see. In the balance sheet, you can see, I'm not sure if it is pretty visible to you, but from 2023 to 2024, you can see that their borrowing was increased drastically from 63 to 58, which was some very I can say concerning for me. But when I see from 24 to 25 so far, they have again reduced their borrowing, so that is a good sign. But on the asset piece, you can see they are continuously increasing their fixed asset. That shows their intent that they want to capture. They are buying machines. They are going for capacity expansion. So that justifies. On the cash flow side, I see that in 2024 as well, they were in good shape, and they went very heavy in terms of investing. But after that as well, they are having a good net cash flow as of now. I'm not as of now, but for March 2025, I see. And if I see the shareholding pattern, I saw small uprise in the promoters holding and small uprise in the FII holding. You can see 4578 and 4580 and 417, 428. Even though DII has reduced their stake, but the good thing is that I see the shareholder has been reduced from 37K to 34K. So I feel that good people are accumulating from my angle. Abhi, you might have sensed that even though I have tried to sell this company, but I have taken not pinch, but a lot of salt in my hand. 66% of revenue they are coming from the US market. So एक बार अगर US market का regulation हिलता है, again they will be doomed. They have already flexing their thing like हमारा client base बहुत अच्छा है. We are not having any kind of 483 failure or any audit failure. But what if their concentrated client base is not maintained and it is not expanded? I mean to say, कोई छोटा सा इशू आ जाता है जिनका जिनको जो कि उनका the US facility where they are having the major business from, if like एक फायर ही हो जाता है, what happens? Again, the flexing becomes the poison. सब कुछ let's say for 1 quarter, 2 quarter, it will be stopped. Out of 4 failures, even though they are saying we are trying to tap into the emerging market, we are trying to tap into India, etc., etc., but out of one, which is regulated market, into the other 3 players, they are very in early stage. So we need to keep a constant track if they are going by their words. If there is no fundamental change, they are onto their word and they are progressing well. And if you see their numbers as of now, numbers as in their market value and the CMP as of now, you will find them that the market has already given them what they promised. So by 2026 they promised something, and I believe they already touched 823 rupees of all time high uh, uh, into the stock market, which is like bull case with my calculation. So again, market expectation is high. The market has already given them what they wanted, and if they do not deliver in a near quarter, again market will beat like anything because it has a tendency to do so. Generic में हर कोई हाथ मारना चाहता है. They are also trying to do so, but what if a major player have a bigger stake, or they have a bigger expansion criteria, no, bigger expansion program? And if they do so, definitely this is having 3,700 crores in a crore company. Don't think so that will survive more, survive much in the comparison to them. Cash flow का history I found little bit थोड़ा सा dicey, because पहली बार जो उनका decent positive cash flow दिखा है वो था H1 26 में, which came around 9 crores, and then 9 or 30 crores odd, I guess. Or else they were not pretty much good on maintaining the positive operating cash flow. और as I mentioned कि जो भी वो story फिलहाल बेच रहे हैं, that we having this, we having that, no, I mean backward integration कर रहे हैं, API integration कर रहे हैं, injectable पे जा रहे हैं. What if any story fails? So you can see all the risks which I have mentioned, they are pretty heavy. एक भी यहाँ से वहां जाता है, market will punish them. So if you are investing there, keep these three things into your mind. वेल ज्यादा टाइम हुआ नहीं है इनको इनको लिस्ट होके मार्केट में, सो चार्ट डजंट शो मच इन माय ओपिनियन, बट ऑल आई कुड सी, ये जो आपके सामने ये वीकली चार्ट मैंने यूज किया हुआ है, इट हैज बीन लाइक 4 वीक्स जर्नी सो फार, जहाँ पे कि मार्केट ने सस्टेन किया हुआ है. दे आर लुकिंग फॉर, दे आर वेटिंग फॉर द नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर. If they do well, it may uprise. If they do not well, probably मेरा trend line टूटेगा, it will go down. Conclusion: I have taken as per their historical growth, even though they have promised 50%, 60% growth year on year, but I'm not going with that. So I have taken 40% growth into the year on year. So with that, for 2026, as I mentioned, that base case was 769 and bull case was 1539. So they already standing at base case. If they do well, they probably will be hitting 2464 in the bull case by 28 or 1232 in the base case. If everything goes into the required direction. So concluding, very initial stage, need to watch it consistently, how the current momentum is, it is maintained or not. And if you are entering into this company, I have taken the not good allocation, but yes, the that much allocation that I should be having enough concern that my money should not go in vain. So entry as per a risk appetite, accumulate wherever, I mean, the fundamental intact and there is no red flag. And if you find one red flag, get out of it, because I have burned my hand in one of the company whenever I saw one red flag and I ignored it. It beat me like anything. So no second thought. कुछ भी सही नहीं करते हैं जो plan किए हैं लोगों ने. Get out of it. So with that, I'll end my presentation and I'll give back the whatever the time it was given to me. I guess I have what you can say, save that time and giving back to the audience. So thank you very much. If any questions, please ask.
You have done, I think, great within a very limited time. I think you have conveyed your thesis. So, yeah, audience, any questions to Devang?
Devang, what will be the contribution going forward from emerging markets, and how do you see that? Like, how can they scale up in the CDMO in emerging markets as well?
देखिए इमर्जिंग मार्केट में फिलहाल के लिए एज आई मेंशन इनका कंट्रीब्यूशन बहुत ही कम है. इट इज समवेयर अराउंड like 4 to 5% as of now. Then they are trying to go for 20% of revenue. They are trying to tap on. So I am not fully confident as of now, I'll say, because it is very initial stage for them. And जैसे छोटा जैसे I mean I'll just take हनी सिंह का example. Just on a fun fact, हनी सिंह जब भी आया था तो उसको बहुत ज्यादा हवा मचा था और एक रॉन्ग मूव उसको ले डुबा था. So again, they are selling their stories. They are trying to market themselves that they are going to emerging market and all. But there are other companies as well. As I mentioned, कि अभी injectable में ये जाने का try कर रहे हैं. But if you go for the Kaplan and Lupin, they are already having good hold into that. So if they want to beat them, they have to do something extra, especially on the margin side. So I'm not sure if I was able to answer your question, but presently they are, I can say they are pretty much, क्या कह सकते हैं उसे, कि वो भविष्य को लेके कुछ थोड़ा ज्यादा ही optimistic हैं, but we need to watch them.
Yeah, because I'm also holding this company, so they are highly optimistic. Totally, matlab, like
yeah, highly optimistic. So again, as I mentioned, अगर I am okay to hold them for next 2 or 3 quarters, even though it goes 50% slash of my buying price. I'm okay to do that until their financial, not financial, but the balance sheet is good and their fundamental is good. और बाकी अगर अब देखिए, जैसे कि ये फरशाद मेंशन कि उन्होंने AI से पूछा हुआ था कि अभी तक इन्होंने जो भी प्रॉमिस किया वो अचीव किया कि. I did the same thing and I found कि I don't have that table with me, but I found कि जो भी इन लोगों ने प्रॉमिस किया हुआ था so far, apart from into one guidance जहाँ पे कि उन्होंने कहा था कि हम इतना अचीव करेंगे, they either achieved it or overachieved it. Only thing which they did not meet was their plan. If I'm not wrong, with the API integration part, जिन्होंने बहुत थोड़ा पहले पहले क्वार्टर में प्लान किया हुआ था, उन लोगों ने रीप्रायोरिटाइज करके अगले साल पे शिफ्ट किया हुआ है. So that is the only piece which I saw the delay, or else अभी तक तो सब कुछ सही चल रहा है उनका.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for answering this question, and also a very good presentation and detailed one as well on senores.
I won't. I'll say thank you, but I know it was not detailed one and fumbled a lot in between.
It's okay. Yeah. Whatever you presented is it is crisp and good.
Okay. Thanks. I'll go by word then.
Any other questions from someone?
I missed the export part. So how much is the percentage of export of sales?
Somnath, so export, I need to
I
check
think it is
because I don't
60%.
think
I think it is 60%, Somnath.
60%. Okay.
Yeah,
It's not
60%
actually
high.
exports. It's actually they have a plant in US to cater to the US market itself. So
yes,
it's not export really. Export
correct.
is only to from the Indian facility they supply to the African countries and other emerging countries. So export
Yeah.
part is very little.
Correct. So
Okay. It will show
basically,
as non-export. Yeah. Understood.
yeah.
But in
So
the US,
rightly mentioned, Ankit.
they have recently means made a joint venture with Juraya, sorry. So it will come more from them in the next quarter or so, or maybe next year. So still they have more on the regulated markets or emerging markets. Emerging markets are also like it's around 20%. So approximately 40% is from US or other markets right now. Obviously, other things are coming from the joint ventures. In the Indian market, it's very less right now, as per my understanding. I may be wrong.
Yeah. One more question from Rishi. Rishi, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I have been tracking this company for quite some time, and the exceptional growth that these guys are targeting, it's purely based on some sort of acquisition that they will keep on doing, and that's why it's abnormal growth. And more or less, management also guided this year that abnormal growth will be continued. By next year, I think they'll be growing at a CAGR of 20 plus 25% plus growth. Yeah. So. But good company, good promoters, very strong
ಅದನ್ನು ವಿಸಿಟ್
promoters.
ಒಂದು ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು.
Sorry?
Yes, reviewed.
Hello.
Yeah, Rishi rightly said.
Yeah.
Good company.
Yeah. Good promoters, and I
But
think
just
promoters also pretty much very business oriented, right? So I mean, he's very aggressive in that nature. The way we had the conversation with him, and I think if at all not, there's some sort of new thing we will keep on developing on this front for them.
right, Rishi. And for the people who wants to try their hand into this company, if I'll be you, I will be either having going with a very, only for the tracking quantity, and if they do well in next 1 or 2 quarter, I'll be upscaling my my allocations there. And if they do not, then I don't think so. I'll be in a position to lose pretty, much on
And
that one.
also on the valuation front, I mean, it's pretty expensive as of now.
Yes,
A bit in a overvalued zone because to give in a company based out in it for API and generics, 40 is pretty much very overvalued in nature. But I think if at all some sort of correction comes because of some X reasons, I think this company should be looked at in the pharma space at least. Good company.
looks like Rishi has a pretty much stake into that company. He's promoting more than me.
No. I'm not holding this company for now. I mean, I used to hold it, and yeah, but we're a good company. I mean, we more or less have a good background in this company. I mean, how exactly they all started and all that. So this promoter has other company as well on the listed space. I think I'm forgetting the name, but I'm forgetting the name. I'll look into it, but they do have an SME space as well, one of the other companies. So this is the second company that the promoter came out with.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Or we can move to the next presenter, Sanjay ji.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Devang, once again. Yes, Sanjay ji, you can start sharing. See.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Just a second, I think.
You'll have to just allow sharing, please.
Yeah, now you can check.
Okay, 1 second. So is my screen visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So I thought I'd do a U-turn seeing the presentations prior to mine. So I'm probably going to just change the way I present the company. This company that I'm presenting is an BSE SME platform listed company called Cryogenic OGS. Very small company. Market cap as on closing yesterday is about 263 crores. We have sorry, just 1 second. So, is my screen visible? Sorry.
It is visible.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah. So the market cap's about 263 crores. Yesterday's closing price is about 184.50, and the lot size now after being broken down is 750 shares. Earlier used to be 3,000 shares, and now it's 750 share ka lot hai. But just general disclaimer, I'm not SEBI registered and I am invested in this company, so I'm very biased. Baki everything standard, you'll probably need to just get through your financial consultant before you want to take any investment decision. This is a synopsis of basically what the company does. It's an oil and gas solution provider is how they like to term themselves. This company was actually started in 1997 as Manguka Steel Private Limited. They renamed it Cryogenic in 2023 October. But the name probably cryogenic is a little misleading given the fact that it's not only into cryogenic things. Cryogenic part of their work probably doesn't form more than about 10% of their business. They also used to do some work earlier for Plasma and ISRO, when they started the company off. What they basically do is make automated systems for terminals for loading and unloading. They also make systems for wagon transportation. So basically, they are to anything that's critical for oil and gas, whereby they have a whole load of products that are their catalog products that that are readily available, and then they're more into customization. They will do the engineering, the design, and the fabrication of the products that they take orders of. So that is what actually gives them the edge. Now, if you actually look at what the top line of the company is, they've closed last year at about 32, 33 odd crores. Now, this is where everyone on a con call with them was, assuming that it's too small a TAM, the company is too small and everything. But if you dived in a little deeper, you would realize that the 33 crore is basically what in government parlance we call as job work charges. So they were getting everything. The material, it's all material free. Over a con call, over interaction, and over hearing what the promoter has to say, is what we got to know that it's about 70%, 75% is yet the cost of the material. The company has now started pushing its buyers to buy the complete solution for them. So it will take time. It may not happen immediately, but as and when it happens, even if they can convert 50% into a total complete solution providing, and grow, where their job work part is there of the designing and the fabrication and the engineering part. The growth, what I see from here can be, tremendous. The company management is basically Mr. Nilesh Natwarlal Patel. He's a mechanical engineer, and he has about 20 years experience in the fluid control and processing equipment industry. He is helped by his son, who's about 25, 26, a gentleman called Dhairya, and he's a petroleum engineer. And he's been now directly with the company for the last about 3 years. In fact, he's the one that kind of took over all the questions at the board meeting, at the annual meeting, where he was, in fact, from what I saw, grilled by veterans in the industry for about half an hour, and the kid came out tops. He could answer everything they asked him. He knew his technical things very well. And that is where, I was impressed with the kind of training probably he's undergone with his dad. So, the father and son are the key duo that manage, the company. This is regarding the manufacturing facility. So the company is based out of Baroda. They have 4 plots, roughly about a 2-acre size plot. They've got about 84,000 meters of shed that's ready, with about a 10,000 square foot place for the stores and everything. The shed from someone that went with me to the factory, one observation was that the shed has been made very, very future thinking, in the way that they've given the shed about a 16-meter height in the center. They've made sure that they've used the best material. They made sure the designing of the door of the main gate of the factory is in a way that even a 40-foot container could move in and out easily without having any problem. So the kind of vision then things that have gone into even making the factory is obvious to someone who's actually run a manufacturing facility. And this factory was put in place roughly around just around COVID. So he's obviously thought even 4 years ago of what he wanted a factory to look like 10 years hence. They have all the quality and certifications that are needed in regards to the oil and gas industry. Everything is in place. So they have the ISO 45001, the safety thing, the environmental permissions, the ATEC, the APL, the ISA, the ASME, everything's in place. These guys, even though being what we would think a small company, has made sure that they have all their permissions in place. They also have a PESO registration. One second now. Right. Now, the interesting thing is that they are only using about 30-35% of their facility as of now to do the kind of business that they are doing. So in case of orders, they don't need any more space, from what we understood, till at least about 200 crores, even given from here. So there's no capex. Everything's been done. The company also is zero debt, which is very, very surprising. So in fact, funnily, the promoter told us that in fact his IPO was held up for some time because SEBI really didn't understand why he needed the money, because he's got cash in the bank, he's got he's got trade receivables, the factory is totally free. So I probably, from my perspective, am thinking that the only reason he's probably gone public is because registrations were needed in place to to be able to participate in tenders at some higher levels, or in some companies where that could be a mandate. Because their process of Aramco certification was on about 2 months back. They also were in the process of getting approvals from Engineers India. Now, Engineers India, if we know, it will not give permissions if you don't have capacity below 500 tons a month. That's their minimum criteria on what they work. So I guess it's his future thinking of getting the factory prepared to that level that he could when they came for inspection, so things were in place. These are a couple of milestones that the company's achieved. They've been able to get a contract for 143 truck loading skids for end use in Egypt. They've also started getting now total, like we said, the end-to-end solution projects. They've got one from Honeywell for Nigeria. So, what interested me also was that a company of this size, the kind of clientele they had was basically, they were supplying to Honeywell, they were supplying to ABB, they were also the suppliers to Anderson and House, and also Toyo. So all the companies that had had the grip and the control in the oil and gas industry, they were vendors for them. So every company normally has 3-4 listed vendors, and they were with all these companies, they are registered vendors. In fact, Anderson and House was ready to give them work for about 1.5 years, which they refused because they said, if we take that work, then we are, tying up our factory with just one company and we'll not be able to do the other kind of work. So we want to grow this more organically, where we will make sure that even if we have some work like this, we don't miss out on the other clients that we've been able to service so far. So they've been looking at growth in that way. They don't want to just take whatever comes in their hand. Also, they are very, very particular about the kind of margins that they do. So basically, most of their business is tender based, but the margins, if you will, I mean, all of you all can study the balance sheet, and everything is there in public domain. The kind of margins that they work with is pretty staggering. They do not. So we also ask them, what is the reason that you are the ones getting the orders, and how is it that your order win is, as good as it is. So the advantage that they have is they do everything in-house, like I said, right? From the engineering part to the designing and then the fabrication, everything is done in-house. Mr. Nilesh is one of the 3 members of the R&D team that's constantly working on, doing this, on doing the innovations that are required. They also have a mindset where they will not refuse to do anything. So if a company there was a New Bombay, one of the terminals of IOC needed a special valve that had to be made during the time of the flowing of the oil. So they have to kind of figure out, with the oil flowing through the pipe, where that cutoff point is needed, what are the specifications and all, and then execute. So not many people were able to do that. These people did it, quoted a pretty high price, got it, because they were ready to do it. And now what is happening is, from what we've been told is, once one terminal of the government, so an IOCL, BPCL, HPCL, how they normally work is, internally, if they've got one vendor that's done or managed to crack some solution for them, which is critical, then that guy gets referred all over. So this is the advantage. Now, after having done that one valve, which was, pretty expensive, they've now started getting inquiries from the other terminals also. This is basically, the kind of products that they do: metering skids, dosing systems, air eliminators, basket strainers, density probes. So what we found out is that every oil terminal will, because in the tanks, which are roughly around 5 floors high, has different density meters at different depths in the tank. And because at every level, the density is checked and the density could fluctuate, in the time. Roughly, one terminal needs about 20 to 25 probes. Average cost is roughly around 4 lakhs per thing. There are about 330, 350 terminals in India, plus there are gas terminals, another 200, 250 odd. There are 20, 25 terminals being added every year, and about 10, 15 of them get into the renewable mode, and they will kind of rework the terminals. The funny thing is that all over India, there's just one supplier from the Baltic that supplies the density probes. There is no other supplier. And that company does not have a rep office here. Someone just imports it and puts it. There is no service. So in case the density meter is spoiled, they need to have it sent back to the Baltic to get repaired. Now, this being a critical thing, the cryogenic has tied up with a company in Europe called Denzel, whose density meters they are making here now. And they have density probes, sorry, and they have started supplying. They've won a first order also. And the only thing that's happening is right now they're importing the sensor. Now, the sensor is obviously the critical part in that density meter. And I think they've got the contract with the company that over a 6 to 7 month period, after they are satisfied with the kind of service that is being provided by cryogenic, they will allow them to make the sensors in-house in India. Now, that's again where the margin expansion will come in for cryogenic. Now, we found out their track record in the last 4 or 5 years of their delivery. There has not been a late delivery from their side as yet. Surprisingly, a company as small as them also does not give any bank guarantees. They've not given any bank guarantees to any customer. They said we don't give, any bank guarantees. Why they want to really get into the end-to-end solution is because, the kind of payment process in that is very interesting. It's like about 20% is paid at the designing period. Another 20% is, at the drawing period. Then there's another 20% during another 20% is during the order time. 20% is roughly around the material order, and 30% is during the manufacturing. So, they said no bad debts till now. Obviously the kind of companies that they are servicing, so they have like the A-class EPC players in the oil and gas as their clients. So even the payment structure becomes very interesting. The other part on how the tendering process, why they were getting such good results, was that being an SME, they have the advantage of first right of refusal in case they are up to 15% more in price than someone who's the lowest cost, who's the L1. So for example, if someone quotes 100 and they've quoted 115, they'll be asked if they want to do the order at 100. And if they agree, then they will get that order over the company that actually was the L1. That is because how the SME, the advantage of them being an SME is. These are the emerging horizons, the places where what else that they as a company can be growing, which is what I mentioned, the density probes, and is where they are getting into. Now, what really makes cryogenic different is, that they have an total in-house team. They have around about 40 members on their team, and another 120 through two contractors. So most of the 120 workers are contract workers that are there. Their in-house designing, in-house fabrication, and in-house engineering really helps them, because they get into the solution providing with the customer's team right from the inception. So at the time at which a customer is going to bid for the tender is when they start joining hands with the customer and then help in the bid. So that in fact helps them get orders. so that because they've been the one who supported the customer right from the initial stage. So this is one big advantage that they have. The key industries that they serve are basically oil and gas terminals, LPG terminals. Now with the government LPG terminals, it also goes into chemicals, chemical industries, because anywhere where there's a liquid process, where there's liquid involved, right? They have done some work for Deepak Nitrite. I'm not sure exactly what. It was just mentioned by on a phone call, so I'm not really sure as what they've done. The other interesting thing that they've done now is they're getting into the piping systems. Now, in the piping systems, where Engineers India comes in, and they have basically three main competitors. So one is D Development, one is Ratnamani, and one is a company called Gujarat Infra, which is not listed. This is where, according to me, the real kicker of the company should come in, because the order size, one single order from Engineers India would be more than what now is their turnover, right? So it will obviously start slowly. They have gone through the process. It's a rigorous process. I think it was a year since they had applied, and for the for getting the permissions and getting the approval, getting onto the vendor list of Engineers India, and I think that permission hopefully should come in soon. And once that does, I think the next financial, once the orders start coming in, or at least they are on the list of approved vendors to get quotations from, is when things will become interesting. Because if you look at the development and the kind of things that they are doing, the margins and the size of orders is really great. About 150 crores and 25-30% margins is what the business is really working on. So cryogenic is why is it a choice? It's basically there is no apple to apple competitor for them really. So because of providing solutions that are complete solutions to the guys to the EPC players, it really makes them the first player of choice. In fact, we found out, and there's a gentleman on this call also who's interacted with me with the company, and we found out that a couple of people that were supplying in the export market, in fact, were buying off them. I also found out that a couple of friends of mine have oil terminals in Africa, and I just happened to mention the name of the company to him. I said, do you buy or do you know from this company? And he said, yeah, in fact, they were buying from them, maybe smaller ticket size things, but they were buying from them. So in terms of quality, in terms of delivery, they are right there. They're right up there, top notch. Being a small company also, there is no. There's nothing holding them back other than the fact that probably permissions are needed in these kind of businesses, and it's a very sticky kind of business, right? So once you are making a critical element in any of these things, because say in an oil pipe where their valve is fit or something of that sort, the kind of loss that an oil company has in case their valve doesn't really work is tremendous compared to the cost of what it's going to be really for the company. They also have now the air filters and the air eliminators that they make. Basically, every time and there is the flow of oil into a pipe, there is some air that travels with it, right? So that doesn't have to go into the main terminal, and that is where their products also come in. In fact, in ships, normally ships have three different pipelines, which is an extra cost at the ports where from where they offload the oil or the diesel and the different kind of materials. They have now made something. What was earlier done is that they use nitrogen as a gas. They'll use nitrogen, to clean the insides of the pipes that were handling, say, diesel, and after that, if crude came in, or or the different kind of liquids that were handled, basically, they had to clean the pipe. Now, because of that, nitrogen was also traveling into the terminals, into the containers that were getting the liquids offloaded from the ships. They have now developed a valve that actually, and a process whereby they are able to stop that nitrogen, and that nitrogen gets cleared off before it before it can get into the. So what happens is you can actually use only one you can use actually only one pipe for all the liquids, because then if you normally have different pipes, you don't need to do the cleaning, but your cost is because you invested in three pipes, in the three pipelines. Here you can make do with one pipeline as long as you use their cleaning system. So what they are very interested in, and very they are very what should I say uh, they like to provide solutions. So they want to do that think tank work for you, where they like to, they want to be a solution provider, and that's where they are, getting their margins. The strengths that someone like a cryogenic has is, there's high entry barriers, because again, like I said, they are so critical to the companies that they work with, that if in case there is any fault in anything that they supply or anybody supplies, so nobody wants to really change a vendor. Second, their relationship with people like ABB, Honeywell, Anderson, Ernst and House is so old, and very, very difficult to be very difficult to be to be stifled out of the business, or difficult for them to replace you very easily. There's also a huge government tailwind in their kind of business, especially given the government's focus on gas, especially for for household, the government pipelines for gas. So they had Petronet come over and MGL come over for looking at their facilities and getting them approved. So that process also in the gas is what's on. The future ahead, basically, like I said, is on them getting end-to-end solutions. So the kind of margin expansion that should come in once they get things where they are also supplying right from the material down to the final, doing the fabrication, will not only increase the top line, will also substantially increase the bottom line. Also, the density probes is a huge market for them. Like I said, they are cheaper than the available competition. They have presence in India, so the servicing becomes a big thing. They are aggressively also pushing into the export, where they're working in the Middle East. They won, like I said, they won contracts in Egypt. They won something in Nigeria, and that's what they're working. The play that they are is basically more to do with it's not it's more to do with manufacture in India for Europe, manufacture in India for products that were earlier coming out of Europe. So even with the kind of margins that they make, they are substantially lower than counterparts that are in the US. Speaking to them, we also found out, that they had applied for about 5-7 tenders in the last 1 year in the Gulf, where they lost out primarily because they didn't have a presence there. So they were cheaper than the option than the company that won the tender finally. The only reason was that company had a rep office in the Gulf, whereby these guys didn't have. So that play also will come in, because they are very open to the idea of having a rep office there, and working on things like that, where we also on being asking them that does China come into play here. So in fact, they said in most of the things, most of the tenders, and most of the in most of the oil and gas things, if the raw material comes from China, they are totally, they're out. You can't use Chinese raw material, is kind of as a certificate, as a country of origin, is not allowed in a lot of in a lot of the material, in a lot of the things that they make. So there's no competition coming out of there. About 90% of what they use is basically indigenous. About 10% is imported material. So on that way, they are pretty fine. This is the the growth roadway which I said about what they're doing. The industry outlook, the size is constantly increasing. There is huge tailwind, as I said, regarding the gas and this and oil also, with more and more terminals being opened, and the scope with every terminal with them increases. The replacement, like for example, for a density probe, roughly the cycle is supposed to be 10 years, but 6 to 7 is where companies start changing because there is calibration issues and there is stuff like that. So the TAM becomes, about 500-600 terminals at about 1 crore per terminal kind of thing. That's the TAM that is there. These are all their certifications and things. This is the profit and loss statement. So the 32 crore top line last year, about 21 in the first half. There, as most businesses are, they are second half heavy. Their order book on hand was about 35 odd crores, plus whatever orders. In fact, they won an order yesterday that they declared. So this 35 doesn't, and this is 35 that will be executed in the year. So they, according to what I can understand, they should grow at least top line of last year just on the job work without the end-to-end solution part by about 50-60%. Plus, there will be a substantial bottom line increase. So that is one thing. They had their issue in was totally it was totally a fresh issue about 17.77 crores. They've not that money is not yet been utilized. That money primarily was raised for this part of where they get everything, where they want to do an end-to-end solution, right? So that is their primary reason for doing the IPO. This is their trailing. This is their TTM profit. I've just shown that. The other thing is this is the shareholding pattern. Now, this is typically what I like in a company that I want to invest. So it's with a promoter, high stake of a promoter. He has the option, and I feel over a period of time he will take it to the maximum limit. The other interesting part in this was that Chittorgarh, the guys that get in the IPO, the side, they have invested in this company. They've never invested in a company before. They've invested in them. There is a very prominent investor by the name of Mr. Snehal, who's been holding Shakti pumps since about 2017. He holds now more than 1% of this company. So the kind of people on the cap table are very, very impressive. There's another gentleman that is a good, renowned guy in manufacturing, as an investor. He's also there on the cap table. So the float of the stock is in good hands. People that want to see the company grow, people that understand industry. So that's that. This is again, just giving a brief of how, liquid gas. They also do things with, like I said, they did, they are probes again, they're liquid. So even the alcohol industry becomes something for them, the milk industry. But those are things that are options that they can do, but that's not where they want to go. They don't want, they're very clear in their head that they don't want to get into businesses which are competitive. They don't want to get into businesses where the margins can be squeezed. They don't want to, they don't want to get into those kind of business. They want margin expansion. They want businesses with companies that where they know their payment is secure. They want things where there's a system, and that's what they've been doing so far. This is again just what their core, their expertise is. Finally, this gives another just a small brief about what the company does and where they are served and the applications of the different kind of products that they make. Now coming to my thesis. So this all everyone can get anywhere, right? You just need to Google it. You'll just get it out of Screener. You'll get it out of the company presentation. AI will give you everything. now the reason why I invested in the company. I mean, this is my thesis. So number one, in a small company, I very firmly believe in pehle banda fir dhanda. So meeting the management, the first thing I understood is what I want in a management. So I use some basic filters in when I want to invest in a company, right? And especially in a company of this size. My first filter is, can I make this management meet my family? If I can't make them meet my family for whatever reason, that's out. That's a no-go for me. I will not invest. Second is this someone that I will give credit to? If I will give credit to him, then I will invest in him. And if I can't give credit to him, I will not invest. So on both the things, they kind of check the boxes, tick the boxes. My other criteria or the other thing I'd look at is, what is the TAM that this market can really have, right? How big can this company grow from here? So that again, just as an example, it doesn't really just OBSC. When the first time I went there, everybody thought of OBSC just as a normal nut and bolt company. But what we studied, or what I looked at that point of time, was, why does someone who can put a CNC machine of 10 lakh rupees put a CNC machine of 70 lakh rupees, right? That's when I probed. That's when I got to know they're doing work for Tata Autocom, for Tesla, and stuff like that. So again, out here, people on the con call also, after the con call also said, very small TAM, just he's doing a 34 crore market. They didn't realize that at 34 crore, the moment it comes with the material, actually becomes 105, 110 crore top line, right? Now, that is what they're moving towards. Now, a company of this size, debt-free, he is, and the factory is totally paid for. Everything is his. I mean, his in the sense, everything is, there's no debt on the books. There is cash in the bank. There is inventory. There is, receivables. So net, if you look at it, the company is dirt cheap. That's what I want. The other thing that I like is margin expansion. Can the margin expand? Well, I feel the margin can expand tremendously. Getting into stuff where there's only one person, say that in the density probe area, where there is no other person, and then getting to make those sensors into India. The margin, even from what he's doing, won't only be sustainable, I feel, but going forward can even expand from here. Now, if a company, can he grow 50, 60% a year, at least for the next 3-4 years, right? 100%, I feel he can. Again, this is my thesis, this is my understanding. So I may be totally off target. I reserve the right to be wrong. I, reserve the right that in case I find something wrong in the company, to just sell off and move out. But again, can he, grow that company? Is there enough margin over there? Is there enough scope for growth? Definitely there is. The kind of things that are being done, the kind of EPC players that he's the registered vendor with, is it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come to a small company. So I'm sure people like Honeywell, ABB have done all the scrutiny, his quality. So with them, having him as an approved vendor, it kind of gives me the the belief that, all right, he's approved in terms of quality, in terms of delivery, in terms of his designing. Everything is top notch. The other place where now Honeywell is now, and ABB and all are taking him, is into exports, right? So whatever they are doing in other parts of the world is now they are taking orders and getting him the orders from there. So now he doesn't, over a period of time, with his relation and with his deliverables being good, he has now moved into being even a global vendor for them, which again I feel is a huge thing. Again, what can go wrong, right? Everything looks so nice, everything. What can go wrong? Maybe a decision like what they avoided, of probably taking a huge order from one of the guys that ties their entire factory up for a long time. Though they have not done that, tomorrow if there's pressure from some client, and if they don't have another alternate premise ready, they shouldn't lose out on business from the other existing vendors. I think they'll manage that. So even and that's what I feel they're working towards, making sure that if they get a continuous order sheet where, something like now in Engineers India. So even though they're only about 30-35% occupied right now, or, capacity utilization, they would, I feel, probably need a bigger space once Engineers India comes in full flow with them. From what I understand, they're already working on that and they're already kind of prepared for that. So that is also an area where I feel they've got their bases covered. Yeah, that's about it. Again, my question to myself is, can cryogenic be a chota packet, bada dhamaka? Well, I'm holding, so I'm hoping that it can. That's what it can be. So, yeah, that's the end of my presentation.
Wonderful, sir. It's हो ही जाएगा धमाका. You are saying so. It will definitely become one.
So, yeah, Puniji, that's the basic thing, right? I mean, if we want to invest in a company that is this size, then we need obviously we want non-linear returns, right? We don't mind sitting, and it's like this: catch them young and watch them grow, right? That's what we want. So I'll just tell you, in fact, the day it listed, we tried first day, second day, third day. We didn't get the company. We didn't get. So I'll just give you a little brief. 47 is what they came out at, the issue at. It was hardly at an 8p. So it was possibly a non-brainer, and it opened first day 90, 99, no stock available. And then despite this, the turmoil in the market, it's never seen that price again, right? It's never come back. It in the middle had got 140, 150, came down, right? 107, 108, 105, maybe, I think, I'm not too sure. But touch wood, it's not seen that thing back. Even technically, from whatever little bit I understand, there was a gap that's now been filled. So, we should be sitting pretty even technically, unless something goes wrong we don't know about. They're constantly interacting, they're constantly giving updates, they're constantly giving the order, which is what I want from a smaller company, right? Because otherwise, between 2 6-month results, the gap is too big to really know what's happening. So if the company is not really updating things, you don't know, how do you take a position now and then you don't know anything for the next 6 months what's happening. So I like the fact that they are proactive in that they want to give results. I think they're trying to give results every 3 months also. So that should really really help, someone who wants to study the company. See, I feel anyone that wants to who understands the SME space and can and knows how to study, you need to give little precedence to the promoter, and I feel should make a trip to a factory like this, see how they are doing, see what they are doing, see the kind of stuff, like I said, even from the layout of the factory, you will come to know that thought has gone into making it, thought has gone into imagining, envisaging what he wants 10 years down the road, what he wants 5 years down the road. Thinking that way, clarity of thought is what you want in a promoter at this level, which is there. So let's see, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it plays out.
Great. Any questions for Sanjay ji?
Just two questions.
Yeah.
This you said the capacity is a constraint based on the order, right? Which they refuse. So with current existing capacity, how much revenue can they do?
Okay, so no, the capacity is not really a constraint. So what it is, they can do about 200 crores now, as of right now. So what was happening is with that order which they refused, right? It was tying up their factory for 1.5 years. They wouldn't have been able to do anything else in that. It was a pretty bulky project that needed to be delivered at one time. So, it's like you're working 1.5 years. If you'll see some of these machines, you can't really be moving them around to create space.
Understood.
Okay. So this is where they are working on, getting more space into the thing. And yeah, so like I said, they are working on it where they are going to increase the space. But as of right now, from this facility, they can do 200. That's only on the job work. So now if you uh, add the material cost also to it, it's about 500-600 crores they can do from this facility easy. So that's where I was saying, okay, operating leverage can be a huge play in with these guys, because 30-35% he is the used is the capacity used right now in the thing.
And you said if at all they want to expand, right? So how long they will require? Like, do they have land, or they are sufficiently capitalized? And how long does it take for any expansion?
So the thing is, the promoter, they have idea. When we spoke to them, they said that there is land parcels available in and around their factory where they are okay to rent it immediately for immediate things. So that would take care of the next 1-2 years. And they said once we see that that's an ongoing business, we are okay to get land, because see, they've not used anything from their from the IPO proceeds. Abhi tak they've not used any money, so that entire money is yet just sitting on the books. And whatever they want to do, they at least initially it will now see, maybe someday later where the orders are so big that they need to raise debt. As of right now, they've not raised any debt whatsoever.
And this probes you said, right, which is like sort of foreign company replacement.
Yeah,
So they made inroads already, or are in this?
Yeah, they've already so I'll tell you. So these density probes, basically, there's one company that, like I said, in Latvia, that's the only one that does it. They have now tied up with Denzel, which is a European-based company, and they have already got orders for that in, I'll tell you the name of the IOC terminal. They have already got the order from there, and they've supplied there also. So that part, they've already been able to make inroads in there.
And understood. So one last question on the Dubai thing you said, right? They bidded and they didn't have office. So are they setting up office there? What's the plan?
Sir, they are looking. That's what they are looking at, and that's what. So the promoters plan to travel and kind of look as to either open a rep office or kind of open a facility which can do the fabrication there.
Okay, and I think you spoke about Aramco order also, right? So
no, I spoke about them being registering themselves as vendors there. Aramco, yeah.
That's fine.
So they've. I'll just tell you, they've got the order from Jammu, from HPCL Kamar Danga terminal. Say they've got the order for the probes, so they've already supplied there also. The only part that they're importing right now of the probe is the sensor part, which, as per their contract, is what they will be able to get. They will review the contract after 6 months, and in case the parent company is happy, then they'll allow them to even make the sensors in-house.
Sure. Okay. Understood. Thanks, and very good insights. I'll make the offline also.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Namaskar, Sanjay ji. Great presentation. Just have few questions on the balance sheet. You can say your profit and loss statement last half yearly. They have their trade receivables are increasing and payables are also increasing, and also the payable days are getting lesser. Don't know about the receivables. Can you?
No, one second. Can you just tell me again? Yes, just tell me what is it that
regarding the trade receivables and payables,
Hanji,
both are increasing. So unka day of payables have also grown up, right? So I've just checked it right now. Yeah.
So their trade payables is in fact come down, right? If you'll see.
Just check the results.
So September 25 का result देख रहा हूँ. Their trade payables has come down to 1.68 from 2.96.
So what is your question, Kamalji?
Trade payables were increasing and receivables are also increasing.
Okay.
So sir, their trade payables as per this is I mean, in fact, as far as this has gone down, but we can connect offline if you want. Sir, the billing cycle that happens at the end of every month, the starting of the next month.
Okay.
So some part of that will go over. And like I said, sir, Inca, their thing has been, their record, touchwood so far has been where they've never had a delayed, they've never delayed a project thing that they've supplied, the stuff. And like I said, even to a Honeywell or this, they aren't supplying, they aren't really, they don't even give a BG there. The reason for them to want to get into end-to-end solution and even do stuff providing with the material is because they said sometimes what happens is we don't get the material on time from the vendor जिसको Honeywell ने बोला है, get it from them. So he says if we control even the purchase of the material is where one, we can deliver faster. We can buy cheaper than, most of these MNCs will end up paying more than, someone whose purchasing is much tighter. So that is where also their margin expansion is coming in. And that is the prime reason, other than the top line and bottom line growth, that they want to be able to provide the entire solutions so that they can deliver faster. And then there is that turnaround thing becomes much faster than them. And, again, the top line can grow greater from there.
Right. Actually, I misread it. Actually, trade payables have definitely decreased, but receivables have increased.
Hanji.
Receivable increase हुए हैं, but payables definitely decrease हुए हैं.
Hanji sir. वही मैं, that's what I was telling you, right? Their billing cycle is that way. So that I will yet try and find out what else that we can over that, and I'll try and find out more detail about that, sir.
Yeah, but definitely this looks a very good company and good find. Thank you, Sanjay, for sharing this.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Sanjay ji, for this wonderful presentation. So we'll take a quick 10 minutes break and then assemble back, or maybe 15 minutes is good enough for
20
us.
minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah. So around 1:30 we'll meet and start from Ankit. Okay, thank you guys for your time. We'll meet again 1:30.